deals at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. And GTA, we start with you.
Your host, brother Pauly, and almighty. He talks about things important to you.
Welcome to another BrightSide here on Wave 105. Biba Matis! It's Tuesday, August 25th. Hanging out with Ryan. He just came back.
Yeah, man.
Yes?
Yeah. Whew.
How's the weather over there in the Philippines?
Well, it was kind of like cloudy, sunny in some areas.
Same as here.
We were pretty much getting all the after effects of what you guys were going through. But, I mean, I'm thankful that the typhoon did not hit the CNMI and Guam.
Yeah.
But there is a monsoon trough. I was actually listening to Landon.
Yeah.
I was still trying to keep up to date with what's going on for the week that I was gone.
Right.
And I guess it's coming up from the Marshall Islands, so I don't know when it's going to start, but sometime this week.
It's just like it's throughout this whole El Nino season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, last week, Friday going into the weekend, they were telling the people in Pagan and Agrihen and Alamagan to take shelter in caves.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, when you have substandard living, right? I mean, there's not
places you can
there
go
are
to.
very few places, and if they did, they built them themselves.
I think
right? And
I think
so,
there's like in one of the islands, I think there's only like probably 3 people that stay
yes.
there. Yeah. So
yeah. So, you know, it's not every day that the National Weather Service puts out a message saying seek shelter in a cave.
Yeah.
Not in 2026. Right? And so, I mean, that was the messaging that they were putting out there, because there are people that live in the northernmost part of the CNMI.
With a bunch of goats and chickens.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Hey, we're doing something now.
Okay.
And this is your first day back, but I know we can do this on YouTube. We don't have time to do it today.
Okay.
But it's basically a poll, like a would you rather poll.
Okay.
And so today's would you rather is, would you rather have your high school photos posted everywhere or your old Facebook statuses read aloud?
Oh, gosh. I don't know which is worse. You know, because people do change, right? They change in looks and they change in ideologies and what they think.
Yes.
I mean, I was probably more liberal back when I was young. Now I'm a little bit more conservative. So.
Sure. Sure.
I mean, I can go back.
When they start taking more of your money for taxes, we tend to get a little more conservative.
See, and that's that, you know, I mean, when you get older, right? I mean, you know, back in our days, right, Pauly, you know, you just turned 20, you got your new job, you know.
Screw the man!
Yeah, exactly, right?
And the system.
You know.
Tear it down.
You know,
burn it all.
It was funny because I was watching this thing, I mean, it's just, you know, on Facebook, mind you, there was this one teenager, right, that got paid, and his older brother and his dad was there, right? He was like, my first check, right? And he opened up the envelope. He was like, he looked at his hours, and he looked at it, was like, why did they take so much? He was like, you know, it's like that the dad had to explain the whole parameters of taxes. It was like, why do we need books? You know, what do you mean streets?
Potholes. I'm good with that. My car goes around those.
You know, it's like, you know, you have to pay taxes, and the brother's explaining is like, you know, the street light, that is where your taxes go.
We don't need ambulances. We can drive ourselves to the hospital.
And they were just cracking up, and this little kid was just crying. It was like, they're stealing my money. And so, you know, I'm watching the videos, right? Because there was a lot of videos, I guess, after Sunday's protest. And it's good to see that the kids are more active and everything. But when you really think about it, right, we didn't have to worry about stuff like that. I mean, growing up, I never had to protest anything about building a school or anything like that.
Some of us have had to.
Yeah,
Right, JFK. That was a situation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you were with the leadership. You were in radio at the time
when
they were
yes.
they were disrupting
Yes.
legislative session.
Yes. But growing up in my days, and mind you, I'm class of '91, so we didn't have stuff like that. And the only thing we protest was like, oh man, they're stopping Chamorro a week and everything. No, we want to build our huts. Power to the people. But never, as far as my memory is concerned, have I seen students protest about building a school. Back in my days, we were trying to play hooky and everything.
Sure.
Now these guys want a school to go to.
Yeah.
So, but it's refreshing and inspiring to see these young kids saying no more. And I'm watching the board, with the board meeting.
Right.
And I think the government in itself has failed, the kids. I mean, because the school situation, I mean, with the exception of Governor Camacho, where he actually built 5 schools, and with Ukadu, and then what's the other ones that he built, Eddie Calvo pretty much continued that, and then it just right after Ukadu, everything stopped. There was no more new schools, no nothing. And then now you have the breakdowns of schools, but Simon Sanchez has been talked about all the way back to
13 years.
Yeah, about 2007, I think.
Oh, if it's 2007, then almost 20 years.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah, I mean, and that's when they were still going to school, and they were saying we need a new place, we need a new place, and so and so now it's sad but very inspiring, and I'm happy for the kids that they're that whole song from Twisted Sister, "We're Not Gonna Take It."
For sure.
That should be the rallying cry of the students, that they're not going to take it anymore. I mean, you have parents coming out supporting their kids, you have alumni coming out, and I'm just, man, this issue with the schools and the hospital is such a hot issue, and we need our would-be future senators to come out and stand in front. And I'm glad that I saw some of them in the video. We had Senator Jesse, Senator Sabrina, Senator Will, Shut Up and Fish, Joaquin Cruz, and then we also had John Savares, and we also had some of the
Angel Sablon, Chris Barnett.
Yeah, so I mean, this is good. I mean,
yeah, it's good, and so you should, if you're gonna stand there, that symbolizes there's no black and white. It symbolizes that you want that Simon Sanchez High School built, right? You can't stand there and then have backdoor conversations about maybe we shouldn't build because it's not fiscally responsible.
Well, who's saying that?
So all those, trust me.
Who's saying that?
Trust me.
Know.
Oh, we're going to play some of that.
Okay, that's good.
We're going to play some of that. And trust me, there are people that have kind of, maybe they haven't said it verbatim, but they're thinking about it, and they're giving you clues as to maybe it's not fiscally responsible to build Simon Sanchez in its current design.
My argument to prove that point and drive it a little bit home for all these people that are doing backdoor dealings and backdoor conversations, if they say, our student population is dwindling and maybe we should not build no schools. Well, here's the thing. Maybe because of the problems that the schools are facing right now, people are pulling out, they're moving out, they're pulling out their kids, they're moving off island, and that could be a contributing factor as to what the dwindling population of the students, it could be a major part of it. And so that would be my argument. Maybe if we didn't have so much problems with GDOE and the running of schools, maybe we'll see the population increase to what it was at 30,000 students, because right now I believe it's 24,000. And so that's a 6,000
Yeah,
difference.
when you're looking at those numbers and you're thinking, we had a caller, Dave, and he made some very good points, right? That redistricting can solve a lot of the issues that are systemic, the negative issues that are systemic to GDOE.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the numbers that are dwindling, like you're saying. And so you probably have to take a step back and reassess. And when you reassess and you realize the most fiscally responsible choice is to redistrict, and maybe that even looks like not building Simon Sanchez. But the only reason why I say I don't agree with that is too much lip service, too much. There has been too many promises from the leaders. And that's why I appreciate what the students and faculty and parents and mayors said yesterday at the Guam Education Board. So I have the link. We'll get to it on the other side of the break, and we'll start playing some of those audio clips and also the video footage on our YouTube. You know, things have been said in the last almost 20 years, and promises have been made to people, to this island. And if we're going to reassess, then these leaders that are the decision makers need to have the courage to say it on the record, not in executive sessions, not in backdoor rooms where the faculty, staff, and the stakeholders that are going to experience the decisions that you make, when that they're not there. You need to do it on the record in these public meetings and say those things. Otherwise, you are pandering to the island. And to me, that's not what makes a good leader.
Not at all.
That's what makes a terrible leader. And so when you make the statement of showing up to a peaceful movement that was put together by Simon Sanchez students, and you show up and you are there in solidarity with them, then you have made the statement. Your actions speak louder than your words. And your action on Sunday was you want Simon Sanchez built. And there's no question about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You want it built. And so that's why there's so many people upset. Because this has happened time and time again over the years, where our decision makers, our elected officials, stand in solidarity with the stakeholders and say to them to their face, not over my dead body, we will rebuild Simon Sanchez, or we will keep Teason High School, and it will not just be a place where people will go while we're fixing other schools. Too many times those things have been said on the record, while also saying some other things in executive session. So that's do I agree with what Dave had said to a point? Yeah, for sure. He makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are making sense. We have to be fiscally responsible. We have to make tough decisions. It is facts over feelings. But when you listen to yesterday's board hearing and the stakeholders did speak, they were taking the facts and things that were said on the record and using it to prove their point as to why Teason should stay a high school and not just be a temporary facility, and why Simon Sanchez High School needs to be built, and why double sessioning is the best decision when if at some point you decide to just redistrict, because that's the most fiscal thing to say. They're holding people accountable for what they have said. That's what I heard yesterday. Yes, a lot of emotion. Yes, a lot of feelings. But it was backed up by things that they were repeating that was said on the record, whether it be quotes in news articles or quotes from previous meetings. And that is why you can't go back now. Just like John F. Kennedy, when there was a lot of feelings and there was a lot of emotion to build John F. Kennedy and not sell that property, because at the time there were some leaders that said that was the most fiscally responsible thing to do for the government. Can you imagine how much money we could have saved the government and also brought into the coffers to use for capital improvements for some of the other schools if we had maybe sold off JFK, the property? But that didn't happen. Why? Because the will of the people said, no, you're going to do whatever it takes to rebuild John F. Kennedy, even if that means putting the government of Guam and taxpayers in further debt. And that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Because we went to leaseback.
Yep.
We didn't have the money. We had to go to the bond market.
And that was the will of the people.
And that was the will of the people. And today, that's the will of the people, unless people like Dave and people like Frank and other people continue to outnumber and have the courage to say what they're saying in public spaces, not including a talk radio show, which I love being in this space. But this space doesn't matter when it's on the record. The spaces that matter are the Guam Education Board meeting and their minutes and the public hearings at the legislature. Those are the spaces that matter. And I haven't heard one leader or decision maker in those spaces on the record, not in executive session, say, yeah, we shouldn't rebuild Simon Sanchez. That's just not fiscally responsible. Not with these not with this population. But it has been said, and they're the ones that need to just own it, own up to it.
Go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no worries. 2:32 in the afternoon. Wampat also, and I want to get to this eventually, but I know there's somebody on the line that wants to get in on the conversation, right? But Wampat did, and it's important to share this with our audience too, did share some of the concerns with the Cortec attorneys, right? And so the Cortec and GDOE's attorneys reviewed again the contract, and they learned something very important, that Cortec has responsibility for certain maintenance under the agreement.
Not all?
Not all, right? And so she broke it down. GDOE apparently cannot simply hire another contractor to do it cheaper. Under the agreement, Cortec will perform the work and charge GDOE for labor, materials, and additional 15% overhead charge. That sounds like a terrible agreement.
Deal. Yeah.
But that's the agreement that apparently is on a contract.
Well, I see it because I know for a fact that if you were to rent out something, right, let's say at $1,500, let's say you're renting out a place.
$40,000 a month?
Well, like $1,500 a month if you rent out an apartment complex or something, and then, you're paying for the maintenance, right? But when the landlord hits you up to renew the lease, he's going to increase that to recoup the money that that he used to repair your sink, repair your bathroom and whatnot. And it's really up to you if you wanted to sign, so I can understand where Cortec is coming from, but at the same time, I still think it's a bad deal.
It is.
They should have okay, at a percentage or, at 50%, then you can recharge us. But for the first 50% of any maintenance, you guys take care of the billing. Yeah.
Well, that's what Wampat was saying yesterday, too, was she wants to, once Tizen opens up, right, let's renegotiate this contract. I hope they do. Somebody's on the line?
Yes, we have someone on the line who wants to talk about this issue.
All right. Hafade, Way 105, you're on the air.
Hey, hi. Pauly, since I was listening to your what the subject on the Simon Sanchez rebuild.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of things that has been going on with the social media with the what is it when Cortec had their meeting with DPW, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones who have a engineer that can actually read the blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds like they don't have the manpower right now to build the school. That's the whole. I think that was their main problem why it's not being built right now.
Oh, not
everybody
the
talks about
protest?
procurement, all kinds of budget.
Yeah.
They're talking about the schools, Teason and Simon Sanchez together being kicked out because of, I guess, public health issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, honestly, has a lot to do with Cortec is not ready to build.
It's not the protest? Not the protest? That's the whole reason why they restarted, right?
Well, if they own so many companies and other businesses, they're really busy. See, Cortec, okay, you have to understand. They may be Cortec, but they also have GFFI that they're also using Cortec people, employees, to do maintenance everywhere. Now we got GDOE up at the Central Region. They're doing work as well, but they're also doing work in other places. And we don't know of any other projects that they're handling right now. Mm-hmm. So I think, to me, they also own hotels, but I think, to me, they're loaded. Mm-hmm. They sound like they're overwhelmed. They may look good, like they're how they posted the video of them having the meeting with a lot of DPW, just to show things like, hey, look, we're really trying to work this out with DOE, with DPW, but in actuality, I think these guys don't have the manpower to do this right now. And that's the whole process of the reason why they're not starting the demolition, and then they're going to start off with the construction, because all their people are busy. And to me, everybody's they're focused only on what they're talking about on social media, everything that's happening. But are we looking at the big picture? Are they ready to build? I don't think they have the manpower to do it right now, because they're too busy with other stuff. Because if they were really not busy, they would be up at GDOE, Teason Central, working on our air cons that have been down for years. Every time there's a problem, B building's always down. And my understanding, I think, the contract is, if we're buying that property from I think the maintenance is they're contracted to maintain certain areas, facilities for DOE.
Because it's also a lease back.
Yes, yeah, that too. There's a lot of things going on. Maybe some things are not even being said on the air, or only in enclosed rooms. Mm-hmm. But to me, I think they honestly don't have the manpower to do this yet. So, that's why it's happening this way.
Okay, so
yeah,
are there not?
That's just my input. I've been really looking at how these people are handling the procurement, how they're looking at numbers. How come they're not agreeing to a certain number that Cortec and whatever bid they have towards the legislature or whatever meetings they have? But honestly, they don't have the manpower to do this right now. Everybody's busy. Their people are busy. We can't even get people to go out to Cortec, their homes, I guess other places, because for a fact, I think Cortec's staff are being used over at GFFI Summertown, all the summer homes and everywhere else. And, if some people, let's say the people that stay at those low-income housings, when they turn in a work order, like blinds for anything, aircon, central aircons, they do a lot of central aircons at their places. But I think that some people they can't even get their people to come out on time. It takes weeks for them to come out and take care of the problem. Just based on that, I think these guys don't have the manpower to build Simon Sanchez right now, and that's my opinion.
I appreciate this. Thanks for for chiming in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Pauly.
All right.
All right.
Take care. 2:39 in the afternoon. Let's take the break.
Yeah.
All right. This is Wave 105.
From breaking news to bright ideas, Wave 105 is where Guam speaks.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Hagåtña, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Hagåtña is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Hagåtña grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Hagåtña Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Hagåtña Shopping Center.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Hafa Day! I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Hat Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and based-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Ever dreamed of being on the radio? Now's your chance. Glimpses of Guam is looking for the next generation of on-air personalities to join our family on Wave 105. If you've got personality, creativity, and a passion for entertaining, we want to hear from you. No matter your experience level, this could be your opportunity to be heard across the airwaves. Send your resume and a short demo to jobs@glimpsesofguam.com and start your broadcasting journey today. Join the Glimpses of Guam radio team. Your voice belongs on the air on Wave 105.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Stay informed, stay connected. Wave 105, the talk of Guam.
Welcome back to the show, 2:44, or 45 actually, 2:45 in the afternoon. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. Thank you for tuning in. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. And Pauly, I got to apologize to Mr. Lazama. He called in, and I thought I put him on hold.
Yeah.
But
he left? Oh,
yeah,
man.
so Mr. Lazama, if you're listening, and I kind of heard the radio in the background.
Yeah.
Please give us a call back.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Mr. Lazama from Varigata. Thank you for calling. But please call back.
All right. Because when I was listening to it, and I really want to, I want to go from one of these statements to the next. So
okay.
I don't know if we have time. Actually, what we can, I don't know if you have the time to set it up, unless Mr. Lazama or anybody else calls.
Yeah.
If you can set up the first audio clip. Actually, it's a video clip, and we'll be able to play it on YouTube. But it's Dr. Judy Wampat, again, the superintendent, just providing more insight and details on where we are with the Teason High School, right? So from my understanding that there are about 100 workers now that are working diligently to get Teason High back and repairing whatever needs to get done over at Teason. But again, like I was sharing yesterday, the plumbing is not new. That's been an issue for quite some time. There's been a lot of there's been so many issues facing. There have been so many issues facing the sewage system, at least on where JP Torres is, and that was a discussion that I had with an individual that went to school at JP Torres for maybe 3 years ago, and he said, yeah, the plumbing has been an issue. The thing is, JP Torres was its own school, and Teason High was its own school. And so they had their own separate inspections. And this is also what Dr. Judy Wampat wanted to clarify too, because it was public health that said, oh, you're combining these two schools, but they're going to have one inspection. And so there was some criticism from Angel Sablon saying, this was your decision, Dr. Wampat. You decided to put these two schools into one campus. And therefore, now they had to have one inspection. But she wanted to clarify some things too, and she says, no, that's what public health required. And she even was very concerned with the fact that they were forcing that on the school system. So, and that's why I kind of wanted to get to the part where you're hearing from them they're, how they're responding to each other, because it was pretty tense from multiple sides, from Maria Gutierrez, from Dr. Judy Wampat, Angel Sablon. He got pretty emotional too, especially at one point when when his own daughter was testifying, right? But we'll start here, and this is probably going to take us to the break, and then what we'll do is we'll just carry on some of the footage into the 3 o'clock hour, because we're already 10 minutes away, right? So if you're ready, sir, I'm ready too. And we can get where Dr. Wampat is. She gives details on the Tizen High repairs. So we're almost there. You can just, there you go. Again, this is Dr. Judy Wampat giving the details on the Tizen High repairs to the board, and there were quite a few people in attendance as well.
Let her speak.
This is really very important. The mayor has asked a very important question. And in the meeting that we had with Cortex's attorney and our attorneys and several members of the board, the principal indicated that for many years, she has been submitting work orders to have the facility, fixed or repaired. Okay, wait 1 second. So our guys have been really going in there, doing as much as they can. However, in the contract, the way it is written, is that responsibility, not ours, the responsibility lies with Cortex. And that was confirmed in the meetings that the attorneys had, showing that they are fully responsible. If any work is to be requested by the school or the Department of Education that is in addition to what they currently do provide, they would charge us. If anything in the school they consider that has been abused or misused, they will charge us. So that was something that we all learned from the contract that we did not know. What we did establish after that meeting is that once we get the school open, we want to sit down with them, our attorneys to sit down with them and renegotiate this maintenance contract, because currently we are at their mercy, because they would charge us for labor, they would charge us for the materials, and they would charge us 15% above that. So that's where we stand right now. And then, like I said to you early on, when they gave me a scope of work to be done that needs to be done at the school, and we asked for a price quote, they were not able to give it to us as of today. But I took the risk of saying, proceed with the work. I need for you guys to complete work, because I need to get our children back into school sooner rather than later. And that's the situation today, as as how everything has transpired from that time on of the closure to today. Of course.
All right. And so again, this is why GDOE is authorizing necessary repairs without knowing what the final bill is. And so that's why the cost was also described as almost like having a blank check. She said that GDOE discovered the contract had changed. And so the hope is that they get this built. There's an answer that, by August 31st, which is Monday, that students can begin to move, or faculty, staff, and students can begin to go back to school, both not Southern, Sanchez and Tizin. And I was told that there were about 100 contractors there, 100 employees working on this right now. But they do have to go back to what the contract is, right? The agreement. And that's what Dr. Judy Guthertz, the chairman, she wanted to share with those in the audience even more details, right? And so she was sharing that Cortex owner, which is Mr. Ho Yun, he said that Cortex is no longer the owner of the lease agreement. Instead, it's the nonprofit organization out in Arizona that owns the contract.
Did he sell it?
However, I don't know. However, they have a agreement with Cortex to be the caretakers and provide the maintenance of Tizin High. So that was something that they're saying that they were not aware of until they started asking questions about, well, who's going to repair Tizin High so we can get the building inspected, pass the health inspection, and if it's considered a new school, the concern is they'll have to pass with 0 demerits. And it's pretty tough to pass already. The school is aging. The facility is aging, right? This is not a brand new school. However, it was pretty impressive when we were able to have it, right? When we first got it, that was something that we utilize the facility quite often.
I'm sorry, this Cortex deal is, man, it's not look.
Doesn't smell so right.
How do you do a leaseback agreement with the government of Guam, and then, unless the nonprofit in Arizona was partners with Cortex, where okay, are they the one funding the money to do Tizin, where they own partial of the investment that they made? Or did he outright sell it to them and just say, okay?
Well, you can't outright sell something that is a leaseback, right? I don't know. Maybe you can. However, once this contract is up and we've paid into it enough,
and then that's the big question.
Then it belongs to us again.
Well, that's the big question. How much is the government in for in Tizin? Where are we at as far as how much we paid for, and how long does this contract have to go?
Yeah, and so I don't even know. Well, I don't have those numbers too, because I was trying to go back and look at past articles, but it sounds like there were also extensions.
Ouch. Man. Yeah, we really, I'm pretty sure, the government of Guam has people looking out and everything. And, when you look at that recording that came out about the new build on Simon Sanchez with Public Works and Cortex, how they were like nonchalantly like, yeah, we're going to cut this and we're going to cut that, and we're going to start paying off some of the senatorial people, because remember that recording? that was in there. We got to make campaign contributions and everything.
I didn't listen to it. I listened to it in bits and pieces, so I need to really pay attention then. Because that part I didn't hear. What I did hear is Mr. Ho Yun saying, hey, if you want this gym, we can do that. But maybe you should, again, step back and reassess what exactly makes the most sense for the money that you are paying.
Because the money that is now, which is about $135,000,
things have gone more expensive.
Up, yeah. So
the materials have gone more expensive,
shipping costs,
right?
Everything, yeah.
So are you sure? Because right now, what it's looking at is the project is far more than what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because, again, all of these delays. And so he wasn't saying let's not build, at least from the recording that I heard. He wasn't saying let's not build this gym with the design that you said.
Yeah.
He said my advice to you is
cut out what you don't need, which is fine. I mean, because like you said, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's going to be expensive, very expensive.
Somebody else on the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got 2 more minutes to go to the top of the hour. Let's
KGUM FM in Dededo, Guam. I don't want to lose the call, so we'll take it. Half a day, Wave 105.
Yes, half a day. They're my brother veteran.
Half a day.
Jesus, G, go jarhead.
Half a day, sir.
Half a day, my brother. Hey, the reason why all these craps are going down, we're going backward to a Stone Age. Like the power plant, it belonged to the Navy. It's old. They trying to fix that every time they repair the engine, the power plant, it's a breakdown. Now we have this stupid power surge for every village. Then you got this school that it's NES. I used to guard that area once upon a time. It's a barracks. Government took over a military installation barracks from the Navy personnel air wings. It's an old, dilapidated building. Now we put kids, instead of repairing it or fixing it, we're playing ping pong with somebody with multi-million dollars. You know, it's a shame that nobody's signing up for what the kids deserve to earn. And stop, this politician, stop telling our kids it's a future. Our kids, you failed the future for the kids. You coming back to this system that you should have been retired. Walk away. We need new faces. We need people like you to, you know, hey, get in the system, correct the problem. You know, that's all I got to say, Pauly, because it's really nagging on me, you know, all these, who said this, who said that. It's all cover up. You can tell the way they speak. They can't answer for the answers. They can't even show the statistic, the graph, how high, how low is this thing going. It's like the market, the bear and the bull. You know, we're going to go down or what? It's a shame the kids are getting education. They have to leave island to get a better education. And I wish the Secretary of Education come here in Guam and look at Guam's system. It's failing. You know, how can we get my federal money going to the federal things that they need? They're taking it away. They're sucking it. You know, it's a shame. Well, thank you for your
sir.
Opportunity.
Okay.
Take care, my brother.
Here you go, Jarhead. You take care. We're going to get to the AP News, and then on the other side, we'll continue at Dr. Judy Guthertz, the chairwoman of the Guam Education Board. She gives even more insight as to where we are and how the negotiations have been going and the findings, too, what they were able to uncover in the last week or so. So we'll do that on the other side of these.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The U.S.-Canada trade war is deepening. Sources tell AP Canada will announce retaliatory tariffs Tuesday. Julie Walker reports that follows President Trump declaring Canadian leaders need to fall in line or they'll face far worse.
In a post threatening a 50% tariff on cars, auto parts, and steel starting next year on top of the 50% he began imposing on $20 billion worth of Canadian goods Saturday. In response, Canada vowing to retaliate with its own 50% tariffs on U.S. goods, including steel, dairy, and clothing, starting September 8th. Vice President J.D. Vance, dumping in Maine.
Canada allows itself to be used as a backdoor for Chinese goods.
We have all we need right here.
Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Building at home and diversifying our trade abroad. That's not Plan B. It's been our Plan A from the start.
I'm Julie Walker.
The U.S. has announced new sanctions on Iran, warning other countries to sever financial ties. In Nevada, crews have 27% containment on that wildfire near Reno, and in Worcester, Massachusetts, remains found near a hospital are believed to be those of a woman sought in the killing of her police officer husband.
Observing a deceased body in the woods.
Worcester Police Chief Paul Saucier says a final ID was pending.
We believe this person to be Karen Solomon.
Kurt Solomon had served 31 years with the Worcester Police Department, while his wife Karen was the co-founder of First Help, a nonprofit that advocates for the mental health of first responders. She was seen on doorbell camera footage on August 18th, walking down the street just minutes after police found Kurt Solomon's body at the couple's house, mortally injured with a sharp object. Investigators say a handgun was found near Karen's body, and it was not a Worcester Police Service weapon.
We believe this case is a tragic murder-suicide.
Audio courtesy WCVB. I'm Jennifer King.
This is AP News. In Santa Clarita, California, don't be alarmed if you hear this.
The grunts and hoots come from the gibbon, one of the rarest and most critically endangered primates on Earth. And the Gibbon Conservation Center north of Los Angeles has been rescuing gibbons for more than 50 years. Director Gabby Scholar tries to explain when gibbons vocalize, like when they're playing, but she can't seem to get a word in edgewise.
There are different calls that have different meanings. So this is their territorial song, and it can change during their lifetime. Like the young ones sing the female part.
The center cares for about 40 gibbons across 5 species. Scholar's long-term goal is to raise more money to build larger enclosures and build an education center for visitors. I'm Donna Warder.
More on this story at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
KGUM FM, Dedito. Powered by Glimpses Media.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place, and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
Hafa Adai. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Hats Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And And to keep you cool, Pat's also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evo 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evo 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evo 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
KGUM-FM, Dedito, the talk of Guam. This is Wave 105.1 FM, a Glimpses media radio station.
To the hour 3 o'clock, we are KGUM FM, Dedito Guam. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Bright Side right here on Wave 105. My name is Ryan Nicholas, and you want the number? Here it is, 671-922-1051 or 2. Dial those numbers and talk to this gentleman right here, Mr. Pauly Suba, the host of the Bright Side, right here on Wave 105. Buenas, Pauly.
And we do want to thank our sponsors. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J. Big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. Also, Chili's Grill and Bar. Chili's, more life, great food and memories happen here. And Micro Pack. For sound, tech, and everything in between, think Micro Pack. 671-922-1051 or 1052. We are online, thewave105.com, as well as our YouTube channel, Wave 105.1 FM Guam. The question for the day, the would you rather question of the day is, would you rather have your high school photos posted everywhere or your old Facebook statuses read aloud?
Man.
Yuli said old Facebook statuses read aloud. So he's, he would rather have that. To be honest with you, I do have some embarrassing high school photos.
Mm-hmm.
But my Facebook statuses, bury them forever.
Because, you could
delete my Facebook forever.
You could have been emotional because you broke up with that girl,
right? Yes. I mean, people were canceling. What's that guy, James Gunn? Right? For the things that they unburied or were able to go back in time and see what he was saying, and they were ready to. I think they fired him from
is that the
Disney.
Guy, is that the guy that was whatchamacallit?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah,
he's the director, and like he
was also in.
He revived all of the Marvel movies again.
Yeah. Okay.
And so people like Chris Pratt and Dave Bautista. They play characters in Guardians of the Galaxy. They came to his rescue and they say, hey, man, people say, especially in Facebook, everybody was saying some ridiculous things early on, right? And it's obviously not funny today. Or this was years ago.
Well, I just don't.
But they came to his rescue.
Is that
and
the same
he got
guy
rehired
that,
again.
that revamped Superman?
Yes.
Okay, I don't like
you
him
don't
for
like
that.
him?
I don't like him for that.
the revamp.
No, I like Zack Snyder's own. It was
you
more,
do?
It was more dark.
Okay,
there
but
was no sunlight.
but see, Superman is the bright part of DC. It's Batman that lives in the the darkness and whatnot, right?
Well, then it was all it was. Even though it was Justice League, it was all Batman.
Yeah. I think that James Gunn has done a great job of rebooting Superman. Supergirl was not his, but I haven't watched Supergirl. I'm waiting for it to hit HBO Max. But I like what they're doing with the lanterns.
I saw something about that. I don't remember.
I didn't watch the second episode. They just put it out 2 weeks ago, so I watched the first episode. I liked it. I won't give it away for people that want to go tune in.
I was watching Justice League Part 3, and I don't know if it was AI generated or some of the fans. It was fan made, but they took a lot of the footage from the second one, where what's his name, Darkseid came in.
Okay.
And they chopped the head of what's his name. Well, at the end, and then the portal just the boom tube just closed.
Okay.
Well, they picked up from that. And Batman's dreams, where he's like, Lois is the key. I watched it all last night on YouTube.
Wow.
I was like,
how long was this?
It was about an hour. It was about an hour.
Fan-made movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Man, I got to send you the link. It put everything together, and it made a whole lot of sense when Flash was running and everything and all, and the part where Superman turned bad and everything.
Okay.
Even down to Darkseid touching his shoulder.
Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. I did like the latest Flash. That got bad reviews too. But I mean, they brought back Michael Keaton's Batman. He was living in that universe.
Yeah.
With the latest Flash movie, I thought that was great. I mean, the nostalgia.
I didn't see it. We have a caller.
Somebody's on the line. All right, Hafaday, Wave 105. You're on the air. I hear the chickens. That sounds like Joe Maulet.
Pajitos.
Right?
Hafaday Joe.
We put him on hold, so he put us on hold. He's like, oh, you're going to put me on hold? I'm going to put you on hold.
Yeah, no.
How many new trivia?
I'm trying to have a conversation right now.
How many Pazitos can you hear? I'm guessing 9. 9.
Oh, you can hear them?
Yeah, I can hear them.
Loud and clear.
Are there 9 of them? Did I win?
More than
There's
9.
more. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what, about a dozen? 2 dozen?
Let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16.
16.
Yeah,
okay.
about 16 of them.
Okay.
There's 3 mothers.
3 mothers? Okay. So
Yeah.
they're all hanging out together then. All the cousins.
Yeah, they're all fighting.
They're fighting. Reminds me of my first cousins when we were all at Grandma's house.
Because they put one has 3, the other one's 5,
Yeah.
maybe a week older.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that they congregate like that. I thought they're all like under, just one group.
I'm over here at the one's house.
Okay. Oh, it sounds like the ranch.
No.
No. Okay.
The one's house.
What
I
do you-
want to talk about the former NASA station.
Let's go.
They got the it's now out last week.
What's out? What's last week?
Last week was called the station.
Oh yeah. I remember that. And so, that was an emergency landing that happened when the winds were really the high winds were pretty dangerous, right? And so they had to make an emergency landing over by the old NASA building. Is it an old NASA building? Is it currently NASA?
Yeah, that's
facility?
the old NASA.
So what is it now? What do they use it for now? I thought that there was still
It's still under the military, the Navy.
The Navy. Okay.
Takes over here.
Okay, here I was thinking that they were doing like top secret NASA operations like they did in Inception. Was it Inception? What was the Interstellar? No. Interstellar was the movie with Matthew McConaughey. That's the one. Remember when they're like living on the farmland? It reminds me of you, sir. It reminds me of how you live, right? And you have your own ranch house and whatnot. And so Matthew McConaughey is with his daughter, and they're driving around the cornfields, and they come across like this this drone that just was flying around on its own for years. And so they were able to get the coordinates, and it took them to like this old, highly like classified area that nobody's supposed to know about in the middle of nowhere. And it turns out they were sending sending spaceships from the area towards Saturn. So that's what I think. When I think of that NASA facility that's near your ranch, I think of that movie. But there are people there though, right? I mean, because the last time you
the good thing about that, Pauly, is that 1970 and 1971, when the NASA, the first NASA astronaut was going to fly, that's when they built the NASA station in London.
Right. And I remember you telling me the story, right? They were using it because they were doing like space explorations, and they were tracking debris, right, in this area.
Yeah, they're supposed to splash down in the Pacific area.
Oh, the actual spaceship? I thought just the debris.
The first astronaut, and they take them to land in the Pacific area. So that's why they built a dome, 6 or 7 of them, to keep track. It's like satellite, so not like today's.
Right.
We got satellite and the solar.
Right.
By that time, they have a dome. 6 or 7 of them to monitor the Pacific area for the landing or the splashdown on the astronauts.
Right. And so, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what they're still using that space from, or
Guam
that
being international military lookout. Guam was chosen at that time to monitor the landing and the splashdown of the astronaut in the Pacific area.
I'm still getting hypnotized by the sounds of your chickens, of your baby chicks.
Yeah, that's the part that people nowadays need to understand the history of Guam. That Guam is the first U.S. territory that was occupied and placed the first NASA station in the Pacific region. Not in the Philippines or any other countries. Guam is the only U.S. territory that had a monitored lookout point for the astronaut. And that people need to understand and know that Guam was international coverage in the first flight astronaut that Guam was monitored. It was said to be the place to monitor the splashdown of the astronaut. First astronaut that visit the moon.
No, I know it's all very fascinating, right? I mean, I forget what his rank is, but the school down at Naval Base is named after him, McCool, right?
Yeah.
And apparently he went to JFK, right?
He attended the public school and then over to the DOD school.
Right.
But he attended the Guam public school.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was an unfortunate situation, right?
The military dependent up at George Washington, Mong. We had a consulate. And the reason why we had military dependent because NAS is close by. Remember the airport, NAS in Tijan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm familiar, but I don't remember.
It's closed for the military dependent to attend public school. So
Okay.
it's close by Mong. Only some of those guys are riding bicycle
To school?
to go to school and go back to prison.
Oh, yeah,
NAS.
I bet. I mean, the traffic was a whole lot less back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 lanes at that time.
Right. Yeah, there are still so many people that live in those houses to this day. And a lot of
after
those
the
houses.
realignment, military realignment, they closed down NAS
Right.
and they open up Rocky Point
Okay.
inside the Navy.
Okay.
Base. They call it the Rocky Point. And then they transfer all of the flights up to Anderson.
Okay.
And that's the only reason the military independent was moved to DOD school in Upper Heights. But actually, because NAS at that time was the Navy aircraft planes or landing and take off to an NAS season. If you see all those planes, they're still standing along the side of the Road 8.
Really?
Yeah, that's the military Navy planes. And when
I'm not familiar with that.
when they open the civilian airport, the old civilian airport, and the Navy transition over to the government war. Same thing with Cabra's power plant.
Uh-huh.
That's also
That was the Navy,
the
yes.
Navy power plant.
Yes.
And when they transitioned over to the government war,
Yes.
that power plant has been there right after the war.
Right. And they finally decommissioned the Cabras power plant. Like maybe
that's also
a month or two ago.
Even the buildings is all tearing down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that, because Cabras Island used to be right at the very end. There's still some concrete standing up. But that used to be the ammo wharf.
The ammo wharf.
The
Okay.
500 pounds B-52
Okay.
unloaded in the
Yeah.
military ship.
Okay.
And then there's 2 of us that were chosen to roll the 500-pound bomb over to the pallet, and then the operator took the forklift, loaded up on the flatbed.
And where did it go?
And it goes up to Anderson.
Up to Anderson. I remember as a kid watching them take these. I didn't know exactly what they were, but they were definitely on these big rigs late at night. They were transporting them at night, and somebody was telling me as a kid that those were missiles.
I only served, I think, 2 weeks, but they have active military guys to take over when we finish in the daytime, like 2 of us.
Yeah.
Local.
Yeah.
And the military takes over at night.
Is the ammo
Because
wharf?
That's a 24/7 operation.
Is the ammo wharf on the other side now? I don't think it comes from that side of the port, right? The ammo wharf is on Naval Base Guam now, right?
The old commercial port is right behind the Sentry. Where the Sentry Guard is at now.
Okay.
The old commercial port is behind that Sentry.
I don't know if there's a sentry there anymore, right? I don't think they have a sentry there anymore.
Yes.
They do?
Right by the traffic light. The Sentry going into Naval Station.
Oh, over at Naval Station. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Naval Station.
I know. Okay, understood. Here I was thinking we're still talking about Port Authority.
So, that area, the old commercial port inside, behind the Navy Sentry Guard. So they
Okay.
transition over to commercial port, Cabras.
Okay. 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 So I didn't know this. The old commercial port was closer to Naval Base Guam.
Yeah,
In Sumai.
The old commercial port.
Okay.
And that place, Pauly, I remember because that is a very deep. You know.
Yes, it is.
The
Yeah.
Navy also take turns with the commercial ship going in and out.
That's the whole reason why that whole Apra Harbor is so beneficial to not just us, but to the entire military operation in the Pacific, is because they can seek what do you call it?
And also
they can seek safety, but also get in here. Yeah. Yeah, these ships, these carriers and whatnot can go all the way in and seek safety and seek sanctuary. Where
and the pipeline, you know anything about the pipeline?
No. The pipeline that goes all the way up to Anderson?
The Navy, all the way
to Anderson? Yeah, not really. What do you know about it?
It's underground.
Okay.
You know the Elite Bridge? Then look down on the Elite Bridge, you find going up to Sinana.
Okay.
You go down, you just park on the side and you see the pipeline on right by the river. You go, that pipeline goes all the way up to Anderson.
It cuts through Sinahanya?
Yeah, where Chow
Yeah,
Bridge
it's
is at.
under. No, it's under the bridge.
Under the bridge, Chow Bridge.
You can see. You can see the pipe.
Okay.
Under the bridge, you can see the pipe. But that pipe goes all the way up to Anderson.
I'm trying to look at the map right now. I'm looking at one of the maps from APRA. So it's going up the mountainside to get over to Anderson?
Channel 10.
Okay. I don't think I was over in Channel 10 since I was a kid.
It goes down to...
I'm looking at the map right now.
Yeah.
Okay. When does it come back over, though?
Over... It goes...
On the backside of Back Road?
They follow the river, side of the river.
Okay.
And then somehow they manage to resurface it before it gets up to Dedido.
Okay, but this is all...
Dedido resurface the pipe.
Okay, so it goes all the way from along the back road?
I believe along the back, yeah, I think the back road or Route 1, I think it just follows the Route 1.
It comes back
on the ground.
It comes back to Route 1. Why didn't they just take it from Route 1 all the way up then?
I don't know. Maybe it's closer on Route 15. But those pipes...
No, right? Because, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't it come back down like MTM area and then back towards the... to the airport, right?
We might cross over to
unless that's a whole nother unless that's a whole nother pipeline, because there's a pipeline because there's a pipeline that's
because the military man, they got masters on engineering and stuff.
Sure,
they know how to penetrate areas.
That's why we run over the pipe all the time.
Yeah, you're running over the pipe and it's underground.
That's why it's all along the jungle on the side.
By Travis Point, and
yeah,
nobody knows that they're running over the pipe.
Yeah, no.
From Polaris Point up to Channel 10.
So I'm looking at it, So maybe there's a multiple one, because I'm looking at a pipeline that goes through up through those hills and down the valley and Totu, and comes back and goes straight to the airport. And is that not jet fuel?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then it gets redirected all the way up to Anderson from the airport?
Yeah.
Or is that a
Yeah.
totally different pipeline?
I don't know whether because I think they required, workers required every month to make sure they double check the pipeline, make sure it's not leaking.
Well, once again, I really appreciate the history lesson. We talked a little bit about the old NASA facility near where you're at, to the old Cabris and old power, what do you call it? The Port Authority, to the pipeline. So always appreciate this, senor, and appreciate the chickens in the background too. That's how we know we live in Guam, that's for sure. Right?
Okay, boy.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, senor, I really appreciate you. What do you want to do, Ryan? You want to take this break and come back and do traffic?
Yeah, we can do traffic now, then go to the break, then come
Okay.
back, and that way because
look
I
at-
already have Senator Judy Guthertz
On the line?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're all set for the video.
Yeah, got it. Oh, I
so
was
we
like,
can do
ooh,
that.
even
Yeah,
better if we get her.
Yeah,
Okay.
I used to know her number. I don't know it anymore.
Okay, let's transition.
All right, once again, it's about that time. Actually, our first look at traffic for today at 3:35 in the afternoon, proudly being brought to you by Guam Auto Spot. Along with Pauly, they're moving you forward on your daily commute. Buenas, Pauly.
I don't really see too many issues just yet. I mean, there are some minor delays at the Tri-intersection. Route 8 heading over to 16. Antolon Middle School just got out as well, so just be extremely cautious there. Down in the capital, I'm looking at some delays too, heading south, right around Guam Auto Spot. As soon as you pass the Shell gas station, headed to passing Guam Auto Spot, and then also passing the Chief Kapua Park. Route 4 looks pretty decent. I don't see too many issues all the way up towards the Route 4 and Route 10 intersection. Helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon. That is Guam Auto Spot. 478 Auto is the number. You can also check out their inventory by going to GuamAutospot.com.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place, and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the eVolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The eVolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. eVolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Pat's Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Pat's also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and based-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Turn us on and turn up the island dialogue. Wave 105, the talk of Guam, Glimpses Media.
Welcome back to the show. This is the BrightSide right here on Wave 105. Thank you for tuning in. Here's the number, 671-922-1051 or 2. Give us a call. Talk to this gentleman right here, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is the BrightSide. So going back to yesterday's education board meeting, right? Mm-hmm. Superintendent Judy Wampat was saying that, was actually sharing that we actually don't know how much the repairs are going to cost over at Teason High, right? And so she asked Cortec for a price quote for the work necessary to reopen the schools, but has not received one yet. And so she is telling them to proceed because getting students back into school is more important than waiting for a final price. And so GDOE is authorizing necessary repairs without actually like knowing the final bill.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, and we've heard this, basically there's a blank check and there are some concerns. However, once students get back into class, she really wants her GDOE's attorneys to meet with Cortec and renegotiate this contract. So Dr. Judy Guthertz, she was saying, she gives more insight, and again sharing that Cortec itself no longer owns the lease agreement. Instead, they were told that there's a nonprofit organization that holds the contract and the lease agreement, and that's what she's going to share here.
I have to make one comment. If I can just make one clarification. You know, when the schools were closed, the next day, a meeting was held, as Dr. Wampat said, with the principals, with our maintenance people, with Cortec. 3 of our board members were present because we wanted to know what was going on and what the discussion was going to be like. And we discovered something that we never knew. The original contract between the government of Guam, and the company was amended was changed in 2014. There were changes made to the original contract. And the owner of the company, Mr. Ho, told us when we asked him about the repairs that Cortec were responsible for, he said, "We are not the owner any longer of the contract. The contract is owned by a nonprofit organization, and the nonprofit organization simply contracts with Cortec to handle the monthly caretaking of the Tijan property." What he said is Cortec is not really the owner of the lease that was originally entered into between his company and the government of Guam. It's important that everyone recognize that the lease is not with the Department of Education. The lease is with the government of Guam. The Department of Education was never part of the lease, never signed the lease agreement, never had the authority to sign the lease agreement, but were supposedly to be the beneficiary of the original lease agreement. But the agreement changed over time, and the terms of the agreement changed over time. In the last itineration of the agreement, it says that DOE, if it has to make improvements or repairs that it is responsible for at the schools, must use Cortec to make the repairs and pay Cortec for their services, plus a 15% rate for overhead costs. That means that DOE can't go out and on bid for contractors. That means that DOE has to use Cortec according to the current agreement. And that agreement, according to the attorneys, must be followed. So that sort of changes the relationship between the government of Guam and the company that was originally the leaseholder, and also impacts the school system. So like Dr. Wanpat says, her hands are tied in terms of making the improvements. She can only use Cortec to do repairs that DOE has to pay for, even though DOE might want to go out on bid, which is the current procurement law of the government of Guam. This agreement apparently supersedes the procurement law of the government of Guam. And DOE had nothing to do with that, by the way. Nothing to do with it. No amendments to the contract were part of DOE's responsibility. We didn't even know about it until this was disclosed to us. Excuse me. It's important for you to understand this. So right now, Dr. Wanpat has been working very closely with the agent for this nonprofit group, and I don't know who they are, but they are named in this subsequent contract. She's working very close with Cortec because Cortec works for this nonprofit group, apparently, to fix things at TGen. And she said it's like an open a cost. We don't know what it's going to cost because they have not provided a cost breakdown. I'm sure it's hard for them to do that because they're looking for things that have to be repaired, trying to meet the requirements of public health. So we will only know after the fact, after everything is fixed. We'll have a bill from Cortec, which will say this is how much we spent in order to fix things that in the contract should have been done by DOE. We're doing our part, but we're doing your part too. And you have to pay us for your part, plus 50% overhead cost. The board is going to have to, at some point, deal with the Guam legislature and ask them to help for that additional cost. Because it's really not budgeted for in the current budget. But it's going to get done, and then we're going to ask our policymakers to please help us so we can pay that bill when it becomes due. It's going to be due soon. The other point I want to emphasize is that really our goal, please understand everybody, our goal is to open the 2 schools at Tejan as soon as possible. That's our goal, the board. And I think that's the superintendent's goal. The other options are not under consideration at this time and may not be for some time. But we do have challenges we have to meet, and these include having sufficient number of teachers and one-to-one aides, and all those other areas are very critical for us. And everyone within the organization is trying very hard to find ways to cover those needs.
All right. And so, according to the agreement, again, GDOE must use CoreTech. And so they can't simply put the repair project out for a bid and choose another contractor. And then they'll have to pay CoreTech 15% overhead, right? And that's why, again, both Gutherts and Wampat together are saying that their hands are tied to, some extent. And they may eventually ask senators for more money. And that's even what gets discussed at the very end of the conversation. Is Judy Gutherts basically says, I want not just the testimony, not just the contract and all of that. Make sure the legislature sees all of this, but also the testimony that was said throughout this hearing, because they do have a list of people, students, again, like we were sharing early in the beginning of the show, is they've done their research. They've combed through the internet and found some articles or watched some meetings that were available to them. And they were pulling real quotes from people that were decision makers or even current decision makers and say, look, this is what you've said, and all we're doing is continuing to put you or keep you accountable for what you have already said. Somebody's on the line? Yeah. Hafade, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hafade, Wave 105, you're on the air. Hey there.
Hafade.
Yeah. I think they all need to be fired.
Okay.
I think they all including the...
I appreciate you. I want to listen to what you're saying. If you don't mind lowering your radio, and then you can go ahead and go.
Yeah, it's pretty low. Yeah, they all need to be fired, because they let this whole thing slip. And the other thing is the board acts like, they don't even know what the heck's going on. They need to go, too. Those board members have been on there for about 10 years, some even longer, So I don't know why they don't know these things. And the other thing is, I thought I heard someone say once before that CoreTech doesn't even have the contract anymore. They sublet it to somebody else.
That's what they were sharing, a nonprofit organization. But
yeah,
they don't have the contract anymore. However, through this nonprofit organization, they have an agreement to be the ones that maintain the facility.
Yeah, so somebody got a real lucrative contract, and let's remind people out there that once upon a time they had something called DOE maintenance, and DOE maintenance did all this type of work, and now they don't even have that because they thought they're going to save money. Please tell me how much money they saved.
Right. Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. You. I appreciate your I appreciate your insight, sir, and your perspective. There is a maintenance team, right? It is a whole lot smaller, and they're depending. I mean, there's a new oversight chair, right? But our Senator Chris Barnett, one of the things that he was advocating for was to expand that maintenance team and even give them more resources. Under Eric Swanson's watch, I remember his maintenance supervisor was saying that they've made steps or they've done a better job of getting more equipment at certain schools.
But what I think, Pauly, has to be, actually, they have to know what the school maintenance can do versus,
Sure.
I mean, because I mean, to
yeah,
hire
they're not
more,
going to they're not going to solve all of the cracks, right?
Yeah.
There are so many cracks all over.
I mean, if it's just
You
to
are
pick up
going-
trash
right.
and cut the grass, but
Yeah.
anything structural,
And there are
should
quite
be
a
from
few.
Cortec.
But not just TZN,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
everywhere.
all the schools, the
Yeah.
facilities, yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, again, Dr. Judy Wampat has said this. Eric Swanson has said this, right? That we have neglected these schools.
Yeah.
And so here we are now. It's an extremely daunting task. It is not literally, but it is one project after another.
You know, see, this is why, I mean, I don't know if there was such a big conspiracy, or I wouldn't say I wouldn't say even cover up, but you know, anytime the government enters into a contract, it should be, you know, because we entrust these people, the government of Guam, to, I mean, it's almost like the healthcare insurance, right? They get their members. The governor sends her people, you know, and I believe one representative from the legislature, and then, you know, so, and then they hash it out, which is the cheapest in terms of what carrier in the insurance do they go with, who has a better deal, right, for the employees of GovGuam. Well, overall of the island, something like that should be in place, that anytime we enter into a contract, a group or like a blue ribbon committee, right, goes there and they look out for the best interests. Because this stuff where, it's just, you know, the governor and the people that the governor puts in is the one negotiating with us.
Right.
I mean, because we're just finding out what's in the contract and it doesn't look like it's a good deal.
Well, the sad part is, right, I mean, if this is a contract for the people of Guam, right,
Yeah.
that we should be able to be like, on any of these contracts, we should be able to, a government official should be able to open up a file,
Yeah.
or open up a database and be like, found it,
Yeah.
within like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
But we're finding out there are multiple contracts. The contract agreement has been changed.
Mhm.
Titles
Extensions.
have been switched.
You know, there, I mean,
extensions to the lease, and so
Mhm.
these things aren't carrying over from leadership to leadership.
Yeah.
Or maybe they are, but they just don't seem to, when you're having multiple 3-hour hearings and we're still trying to
Find
the details, and the lawyers are actually going to go through those things and sit down with contractors, right? But we're also either recessing a hearing
Mhm.
until we get more updates,
Yeah.
or we're going to end this hearing and then we'll find out more in a September meeting. Well, you know, that's the reality that we're facing. And I'm not saying that it's this board or this superintendent's fault for that. It seems like this is a recurring issue consistently with all of the other agencies. When BJ Cruz is just asking for some documents, and why wasn't it all organized in the first place when we're doing an audit? Why do we have to keep making phone calls and talk to somebody else in another part of DOA or another part of another government agency to get the document that was supposed to be in this file to begin with, when you said that we're all ready to go with this audit?
You know, I don't know, there's a current law in the books, but if I was running for senator, I would create a bill that for every agency, they have a little department of everything that they are doing, and the public auditor has complete access to it, where he just goes in,
Right.
BJ just goes in and see where they're at the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, so that when it's time to audit, I got everything in place.
Yeah, and I also understand where some people are concerned about the governor putting out a bill or an amendment that would basically move some of the authority from GDOE over to the executive branch. I understand the concern over that, right? Because you lose autonomy.
Well,
however,
look at
when
what-
we are talking about organization,
Yeah.
I'm not totally against what the intent of what the governor was trying to do.
Well, look
she
at
was just trying to streamline and organize audits.
I get it.
Because GDOE is always late.
Well, GDOE
notoriously late for their audits.
You know, Dr. Guthers had just pointed out that the government entered into a contract with Cortec, and GDOE wasn't even on the table. They didn't even know. And so now everybody's looking at GDOE as you're at fault. You should have done this, and you should. I'm like, hey, hold on for a second, because this contract was done without GDOE's eyes, the board members' eyes on it. So they didn't even know. I mean, you would think that whoever is going into a contract with Cortec would get the best deal for the island of Guam, and apparently GDOE is just discovering the do's and don'ts of contracts that the government of Guam went into with Cortec. And so, how do you govern that, right? I mean, again, for me, take out the board, give everything back to the governor, because it's the governor that's signing off on this, right? And I'm not saying Governor Liu, I'm talking about past governors and future governors, that they're the ones that are, going into contracts with companies such as Cortec. So let them deal with it. I mean, because it's like me and you entering into a contract, and Yuli, our good friend Yuli, is in the middle of all of it, and he is oblivious to what's in the contract. And then when something happens, Yuli, how come the sink is not done?
And this is the same situation that we're facing with all the leaseback, because the principals have an understanding of who they should be calling, and then they call and they're like, not us. Here's an off-island number that you need to reach out to. And then they call this off-island number, and guess what they do? They subcontract to a local company here to do the maintenance on these leaseback schools.
Yeah.
I think the only one that isn't really having this controversy is JFK. But, I mean, look at JFK and do everything that contract said, because I watched some public hearings based on what is happening over at Ukadu as well.
Well,
there's just so much uncertainty of who oversees the maintenance.
You have former Senator Will, and I kind of like the idea where he's asking the governor to declare a state of emergency, because to fix the schools, because we already know that Southern High is going to come up, and we don't even know if there's problems that they will not meet. There are going to be demerits flying all over the place, and so how do you fix that potential problem with Southern High to make sure that everything is good? And how do you currently fix the problems that are going on in Teason? Declare a state of emergency, and you already have the Navy or the Admiral, right, that said, hey, we're standing by. If you guys need help, we're able to help you.
KGUM-FM and Dedo Guam. We're going to continue the conversation on the other side, including what Angel Sablon was saying too at yesterday's meeting. He has a letter, and he's going to request from the Marines a facility over at Camp Blas as well, which he is saying is an empty facility that they're not going to be using who knows when. The Marines, the delay of Marines from Okinawa, is uncertain, right? A lot of the timelines have changed or shifted. And so he's saying, it's a reach. But
at this point, everything seems
who knows?
Everything seems to make sense.
If we don't ask, right? Closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, and I think that's where that came in, because they did ask, and apparently
they already said no.
No, the Secretary of the Navy said, "Hey, we can help you."
Oh,
yeah.
See?
We can help you.
That's sounding a whole lot better than I thought.
But so it was just.
So you're saying there's a chance.
When they wrote the letter, requesting the assistance from the military, they were like saying basically, we're ready to go if you guys need help. But it still has to come up from their higher ups. Now, considering Guam is being looked at, as the tip of the spear and all that good stuff, right? you're right. It doesn't hurt to ask. And, so far they said, hey, we're ready to meet. So the letter was basically, we're ready to meet when you guys are ready. And so there was also calls for the governor to activate the National Guard, to help, rectify these issues that are currently going on. But, I mean, at what point do we say this is a state of emergency, right? We have kids that are not going to school.
Close to 1,000, right? I mean,
Yeah.
give or take 500 each,
Mhm.
right? A little under
Yeah.
for both. No, actually, I think it's more. I think I got my numbers wrong.
But then you got to look at everything that it hurts, right? You have the
I
mayor's
think
office.
it's over 500 for each.
Yeah, the mayor's office, like, they're up in arms because, the food and the homeworks are being passed out and all of that. And they're like, wait a minute, and everybody's getting on them. Parents are like, not,
There's concerns, right? No real direction.
Yeah. And everybody's lost with, like, nobody knows what to do. All right, well, here you go. I think Angel's ideas, Senator Will's ideas are good. Maybe after that, implement site-based management and then give the power to the principals, to make calls, at those particular schools that have problems. All right,
Let's take this break, yeah?
Yes,
Get
let's
the
take
AP
the break.
news?
Yes,
Okay.
and we'll come back with traffic and continue on with the meeting that took place at GDOE right after this.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The U.S. has launched a new campaign against Iran, one President Trump's vowed will be an economic D-Day. Ed Donahue has details.
It's called Operation Economic Outcast.
An economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains this tyrannical regime.
Bessent says every country that tethers itself to Iran should expect a share in its isolation.
Teams from Treasury, State, and the U.S. military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified.
Iran warned it would respond harshly to new sanctions. Its currency has hit a record low, but Iran retains a key strategic advantage: its attacks and threats on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Ed Donahue, Washington.
President Trump's latest trade wars deepening. Sources tell AP Canada will announce retaliatory tariffs tomorrow. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada may need to move away from matching U.S. tariffs dollar for dollar and instead use more targeted retaliation. Trump says Canadian leaders need to fall in line or they'll face far worse, threatening additional 50% tariffs on Canadian vehicles, auto parts, and steel. And sources tell AP the president's considering imposing a new 7.5% tariff on China for flooding the global market with underpriced goods. Prosecutors in Taiwan have charged 9 people, including one from NVIDIA, with illegally exporting high-end AI servers to China. And the Supreme Court siding with the Trump administration over the president's executive order restricting mail-in voting. It calls for delivery of mail ballots only to people on federal government lists. This is AP News. NFL quarterback news. Deshaun Watson will be the Cleveland Browns opening day starter. Jennifer King has the story.
Coach Todd Monken's decision will not be popular with Browns fans who booed Watson during Saturday's preseason blowout loss to the Bills.
I understand the frustration. I understand everything that kind of goes into that. And moving forward, I just want to focus on football, making sure that, I'm putting the best product out there.
Monken and Watson spoke at a news conference on Monday.
And ultimately felt like to start the season on the road, Deshaun gave us the best chance to move the ball and score points.
Watson has only played 19 games for Cleveland since 2022 when he was acquired from Houston in a blockbuster deal. He was suspended over allegations of sexual misconduct during massage therapy sessions, had a shoulder injury in 2023, and then 2 injuries to his Achilles tendon. The Browns' road opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars is September 13th. I'm Jennifer King.
There's more news at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to KGUM-FM Dedido, Wave 105.1 FM, the talk of Guam, a proud Glimpses media radio station.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
4:09 in the afternoon, and right about now it's time to take another look at traffic, your daily commute, as we help you move forward along with Guam Auto Spot. Standing by, Mr. Pauly. Suba, buenas.
All right, some mild delays now in the Dedado area, past the Dedado Flea Market, heading towards the Sengsong intersection. I do see some delays in Hamburger Road. So you're making that right turn into Hamburger Road. It looks pretty decent until you get through about the middle of that area.
It should be called something else.
Yeah, right. This is not a detour. This is not a shortcut road.
Yeah, because
Oh, there is no more. It's sushi and hamburgers.
Yeah, it's sushi hamburgers.
Yeah. Sushi and hamburgers road. Right? Yeah, we'll just call it that from now on. So it is definitely not a shortcut in sushi and hamburgers road. I see some major delays also around the airport, trying to get back down to Route 1, Marine Corps Drive. Other than that, it really is the usual. I don't see no reports of school bus crashes or anything like that. That happened this morning, and we do have more information on that. We'll share that a little bit later. Actually, I'm just going to share it now because it has a lot to do with traffic, right? Or it has a lot to do with the roadways. So if you haven't heard, the update from GDOE is they've got the update from DPW a DPW school bus was involved in a traffic crash on Route 9 near Machinao Elementary School in Jigo, approximately 7 a.m. this morning. GPD did respond to the scene. At the time of the crash, 46 students were on board the bus. No injuries were reported among the students, driver, or any other parties involved. Emergency medical personnel and a wrecker were not required at the scene. Following the incident, GDOE assured all 46 students underwent individual assessments, which were completed by 10 a.m. School nurses and staff have since been contacting the parents and guardians of the students involved to inform them directly of the situation. Helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon, that's Guam Auto Spot. Call them up, 478-AUTO. View their inventory, guamautospot.com.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home, which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
Hats Tinting and Detailing offers premier services from complete interior cleaning and VIP detailing. And to keep you cool, Hats also offers factory, ceramic, blacked out, and base-approved auto tinting. For more information, call 647-SLAM.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Balanced, fair, thoughtful. Wave 105 FM.
Welcome back. Viva Montes. It's Tuesday, August 25th. We do want to thank our sponsors, and that's GTA. We start with you. Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micro Pack from Sound Tech and everything in between. Think Micro Pack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. And Triple J. It's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. 4:15 in the afternoon, 671-922-1051 or 1052. We're going to fast forward deeper into the conversation. And so there was some criticism from Maria Gutierrez and also Angel Sablon. Angel Sablon was very concerned about, again, this was your decision, Wampat, to take these two campuses and join them under one campus. And then public health put together one health inspection and you set them up for failure. However, Wampat wanted to respond to what she was again saying, misinformation. And so I wanted to play that now, if that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
Misinformation is going out. And the question is, which you all need to know, and the question was, why is it that because we have two campuses, why is it that we do not have two separate permits? That was the question that I did ask public health. And public health response is that TGen holds the permit for a year. Therefore, they're treating it as one permit. That wasn't my decision. I wanted them to do two separate inspections. That wasn't the case. So that's the first misinformation. And for those of you who are saying it's a lie, you can call public health and verify to validate what it is that I'm sharing with you. The second is, it is not September 8th that I'm saying that this would end. It is, I'm looking at August the 31st. September 8th, if the report was read, it says that that's what was recommended by the principals if they're going to do a double session. The third is the 14 points. I've been speaking to the senators about the 14 points since I came in. I've spoken to our attorneys to provide input and language for the legislature to consider also to amend so that we won't have these lawsuits. And yes, I'm worried about lawsuits because when we came in, we had 11 lawsuits to date. And I surely don't want more lawsuits, and we have to end up usually losing more monies to continue to pay for these lawsuits. So in that vein, I've also asked the senators to consider other language in the bill, even about lawsuits, whether there should be arbitration, whether there should be some time frame to be able to address these issues. When this whole question came up about the rules and regulations, the former superintendent, Mr. Fernandez, asked for 5 years before it goes into full implementation so that GDOE can catch up, because they didn't have the money to be able to do all that. And yes, when that issue came up about double session, that was at the request not just of the board to end double session, it was also a request by the legislature. There was an outcry to end it. Brought that subject up to the principals then to decide to discuss. And I know the year before that, the EC answer was to continue with double session. Well, this time they didn't. They made the hard decision to be able to have them co-locate in one place because they want to preserve not just the school identity for the children, but rather that they're able then to continue separately. And we granted that at their request. And then lastly, is that when the board had asked, because of all these concerns about teacher vacancies, school one-to-one aides and busing, the options came from the principal. And the principals, yes, they said that the least disruptive of all of them, of all these options, if we weren't going to continue opening our schools next week, but rather at the end of the year. But my goal, and their goal as well, and I agree, and that's my recommendation at the end of my report here, is to recommend to the board that we remain status quo with the hopes that Monday, yes, Monday, to be able then to open the schools. And calling every day, I'll have you know, Dr. Ujoa has been speaking with Mr. Kim on a daily basis to get updates, and the updates is continuance of what it is that they're doing, and when there are completion, they will let her know exactly what has been completed. So there's been a lot of follow-up, maybe not by me personally, but definitely by our Deputy Superintendent of Facilities and Maintenance.
But Madam
And
Superintendent,
to be accused about Simon Sanchez, let me tell all of you who don't know, and you were all probably just in elementary or middle school, that before I left the legislature, I authored the law to build Simon Sanchez High School. That's what I did by law. But the only one that can implement that law to make it happen would have to be the executive branch. To accuse me to say that I'm not concerned about children, I am. All my children are public school products. My grandson with a disability is also a product of our public school. So yes, the public school children are my top priority. You are my top priority. And that's why we're working diligently in the hopes to get you back to school next week. So for me to be accused of not working, I take offense to that.
Thank you, Dr. Wampat. Thank you.
All right, there you go. That's Dr. Judy Wampat wanting to respond to some of the criticism from board members Maria Gutierrez and also Angel Saban, right? And so she was saying, though, we can also fast forward to where Mayor of Jigo had some concerns too. And while Ryan's getting there, again, Superintendent Wampat was saying that people were incorrectly saying that she had said September 8 as the reopening date. She said that wasn't her target. The target is this Monday, August 31st. And so that is the goal, assuming necessary work could be completed and the schools could reopen safely. September 8, she said, came from a recommendation involving the principals and the possibility of double sessions, not from her saying the schools definitely wouldn't reopen until then. And then she also rejects the suggestion that she suddenly became concerned about adequate education requirements. She said she has been talking with senators and attorneys about the 14 points since becoming superintendent and has also asked lawmakers to consider changing portions of the law. She said GDOE already had 11 lawsuits when her administration came in, and she doesn't want additional lawsuits draining money from the school system. She said she has discussed possible legislative changes involving things like arbitration and deadlines for resolving complaints and other ways of addressing disputes before they become expensive lawsuits. And so, yes, she says, I'm worried about lawsuits because lawsuits take money away from education. She also defends the decision to put Sanchez and Teason together. She said ending double sessions wasn't simply something that she personally decided. There had been pressure from both the board and legislature to end double sessions. She said the principals were involved in considering the options and made the difficult decision to have the schools co-located at Teason while remaining separate schools. And the goal was to allow Simon Sanchez students to preserve their separate school identity rather than simply merging the two schools together. Remember when she announced that it would be the Teason Sharks. Despite all of this, though, double sessions or even alternative campuses, she says her recommendation was essentially to, stay the course, keep things status quo. Her goal remains getting the repairs finished and reopening the schools as quickly as possible, and again, potentially following Monday, if everything is ready. That's August 31st. So, a number of students, stakeholders, faculty, staff spoke after, and they shared their concerns, and they shared what they were hearing from their own leadership or administration. And I also was forwarded a change petition, change.org petition, saying if you're going to decide anything, we don't want redistricting. We prefer double sessions. And so, being the mayor of Jigo, she has been inundated with so many concerns from her residents in Jigo. And so this is the mayor of Jigo, Francis Lizama, speaking. I remember at one point, June Bloss was supposed to speak, the mayor of Barragata, but I believe she had to leave. And so she was there, and then unfortunately she was unable to stay, and she didn't voice her concerns on the record, at least in this testimony. But Mayor Lizama did. And so this is what I want to share now.
Good afternoon. My name is Francis Lizama, Jigo Mayor. And although I'm not a Simon Sanchez alumni, my 5 children and my husband are. I have grandchildren who are future Sharks. What scares me is that they will be here in this environment facing the same issues. Year after year after year, the children, the students, the faculty, and staff come before you pleading for the school to be rebuilt. And yet here we are once again. There's a saying, give your employees the supplies and tools and they will do their job. The Sharks are only asking for their home and have been asking year after year after year. In the 32nd legislature, you introduced a bill, Madam Superintendent, and this was regarding the rebuild of Sanchez. Months ago, you were in a meeting with other individuals regarding Simon Sanchez. People listen and people hear what you say. In that meeting, you said Simon Sanchez should not, I repeat, should not be rebuilt. I dare you to say that in front of these stakeholders today. This came from an individual who was in that same meeting as you were. And it really disappoints me that you sit there and you try to defend every decision that you've made. One, the closing of schools in the South without any consultation with any of the mayors or the stakeholders. Two, CFA into GW. Three, these kids, these students need their home. Madam Chairperson, I hope you're listening to me because it looks like you're in La La Land. It only goes to show how important the voices of these students are. I don't know what else these students, these stakeholders, these teachers, faculty, and staff have to get to say for something to be done. Decisions have been made that did not appease the stakeholders, and you made those decisions. With that, I'm asking the board, please request the resignation of this superintendent. Thank you.
All right, so
before
a
we end
mayor of the
public discussion,
the mayor
I just want to make sure, is Clarissa Perez here?
is speaking to the board. Simon Sanchez is under her jurisdiction. That
The
has
people
weight.
who have signed up for public participation.
I was hoping that June Blas was going to also testify and see where her concerns
Thank
are.
you, Dr. Okada.
But I did watch a
We appreciate the
KUAM story, and they interviewed both the mayor and vice mayor of Barrigada, and they shared their concerns, where they were very frustrated with what you were saying, Ryan, that they didn't get much direction. However, they have been detailed to provide the worksheets, right? To pick up the worksheets over at the Barrigada mayor's office. And also there are places where you pick up food, like satellite areas too, right? And so you can tell that the mayors are very frustrated. For Miss Lizama, for Mayor Lizama, she gave 3 reasons. And so she's, in her point of view, these are 3 decisions that were made from the superintendent that didn't turn out very well. So she says, 1, the closing of the schools in the South without any consultation with any of the mayors or stakeholders. I remember when the conversation was being had when it was Eric Swanson. And I do remember Dr. Wampat saying that this is, she took the information that was provided from past leadership. They were talking about maximizing, first they used the word decommissioning of schools, right? And then they started talking about maximizing population. So the messaging just changed, but what they were planning to do was practically the same thing. Closure of schools. And during Eric Swanson's leadership, they did close. They successfully closed 2 schools, Chief Brody and LBJ. But again, I was saying this months ago, that was the easy decision. They still got some pushback from Chief Brody. I was there. I went to that town hall meeting over at J.M. Guerrero, formerly Harmon Loop Elementary. And I saw those those adorable worker bee students. And I saw them holding up those signs. It was not an easy decision. However, they were being very honest with those students and the faculty and staff, and saying that what we can do with Chief Brody actually helps the whole public school system, right? And so you literally could fit that entire Chief Brody population into JM Guerrero, and a few went to what's the one inside League One, but not very many. And that's just the reality of what has happened in, I mean, most of the Tamuning students go to Tamuning Elementary, and were very few over at Chief Brody. But that was the easy choice. It is going to be difficult moving forward to close any more. And Harry S. Truman population, they remember because they got word of it during Eric Swanson's time. And so did Marshall Sablon. And who's going to who? And that was over at Southern High. Who will take who? It sounded like they were going to, Harry S. Truman was going to go down to Marshall during the conversations. However, Angel Sablon was the one who said, where are you going to put these students? In the temporary buildings over at Marshall Sablon? Well, what happens when another typhoon comes? And those temporary facilities blow away. And they moved on, right? So the conversation, I guess, continues because we are still facing a shrinking population. And again, it just goes back to there are a few people in this community, and we've gotten callers. There are people that listen to this show that agree with redistricting, agree with closing schools, and it will solve a lot of our financial issues. However, the decision makers, most of them, are not saying that on the record, not saying that in these meetings. As a matter of fact, they are standing in solidarity with these same students. And so that is what you're up against, the will of the people. And there are already more than enough leaders on both sides, Democrat and Republican, that are standing in solidarity to do what? To rebuild Simon Sanchez. So these are the people that create policy. These are the people that have control over appropriations. So the second one is SIFA to GW. She didn't like that either, right? That also, what we all saw, and the concerns that happened on the 11th hour. But I'm also hearing that wasn't the 11th hour. That was somewhere like in July. However, it got pushed back, and then it felt like the 11th hour. But those conversations were actually happening in July, and those negotiations where SIFA would go into GW. So Mayor Lizama is not happy with that. And then, of course, the third one, right? With seeing both Tizin and Sanchez closing. And she has asked for the board to call for Wampat's resignation. 4:37 in the afternoon. We'll take the break, yeah? Actually, we'll look at the roadways, huh? Yes. Okay. Helping you move forward once again is Guam Auto Spot. 478 Auto is the phone number. And the website is guamautospot.com. Where do we want to look now? Let me just see this. Hagåtña still looks pretty congested heading northbound towards Route 1 and Route 4. That Route 1 and Route 4 intersection doesn't look too bad for the remainder of Route 4 in Hagåtña and also Sinahaña. I'm looking at Route 4 and Route 10 and that intersection there too. Also, nice and easy all the way through Route 10 and back around towards the tri-intersection. I'm definitely paying attention to what is happening over at the what looks like a four-way, right? Seagull Avenue is getting paved. It's starting to look a lot better every day. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, the old Teason entrance.
Yeah, and so the word is that you'll be able to make a right turn out of there. And you'll be able to make a right turn from 16 into there.
Nice.
But you won't be able to make a left turn from 8 in there. And you won't be able to go straight from 10 in there.
I'm already getting...
And to be honest with you, the only way you're going to stop them from doing that is you're going to have to put up some barriers. Kind of like what they did down at Harmon Loop.
Yeah.
Because remember, there was a sign that told you had to turn right into Harmon Loop. You could not go, you are not allowed to go straight.
Yeah.
But everybody still went straight.
Yeah.
Until they put some barriers up.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
It was kind of irritating because that one person going straight was holding everybody back on the turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Helping you move forward on this Tuesday afternoon is Guam Auto Spot. Like I said, the number 478 Auto and the website to check out the inventory is guamautospot.com.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges: mental health struggles, housing obstacles, employment, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At the Bob Woodruff Foundation, we raise awareness about the tough challenges veterans and military families face and invest in solutions to help support them in the next chapter of their lives. And with one solution comes the next. We solve a housing situation, we increase employment opportunities. We solve employment problems, we address food insecurity. We solve food insecurity, we impact physical and mental health issues. Learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the eVolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The eVolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. eVolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Wave 105, the talk of Guam. Real voices, real stories, right here at home.
And welcome back to the show. 4:43 in the afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, the number 671-922-1051 or 2. This is the Bright Side. And this is Wave 105. Standing by. The host of the show, Mr. Pauly Suba. Buenas.
Hafa. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to the phone lines now.
Yes, caller standing by patiently.
Hafa, Wave 105, you're on the air. Hello there, you're on the air.
Hi, can I make a comment?
You sure can.
You know, the situation going on with the GDOE, when Swanson was on board, yes, he did. They were explaining, they were thinking, and they did. They closed some of the schools down. So,
yes, Chief Brody and LBJ.
Chief Brody and LBJ. So nobody said anything about it. All of a sudden, when this new administration come in to GDOE, because Swanson retired last year. So, and this new administration has to piggyback on whatever destruction that is going on in the government, bro. I really don't know what in the world is going on. Everybody want to point fingers. The mayor wants the superintendent's resignation. Can she do better? If she can do better, then by all means, man, go over there and take care of the GDOE, whoever that mayor is. Stop talking, bro. Honest, bro, because it's not fun and games. We're the government of Guam, the governor and the lieutenant governor. They talk about the hospital. Which is more important, the one that's living or the one that's about to die? Because the one that's living and are growing up, those are our future. They're the pioneers of this island, bro. They're the ones that are gonna run it. Now, what the governor and everybody else is showing these kids that they don't know how to run they don't know what the hell they're doing. Stop pointing fingers, bro. Now, this is not a fun and games. Honestly, I'm telling you, that mayor is going to say something like, I don't even know who the superintendent is. No. If she can do a better job, and I'm glad I'm on the air, but Hanazon Falax DOE, don't you steer that wheel, bro. And let's go see how many people is going to talk about you. That's not right. It's not, man, there's AIDS. How come they close us because of the merits? Okay, they close us. Tizan and Sanchez are together. But who's supposed to be run? The DOEs leasing that school? I don't know if I'm wrong. Am I correct? But
right now, yes, they're leasing the school.
Yeah. So Who's the landlord? Cortec, no?
Well, it's a nonprofit organization that has the lease agreement. However, that's not the deal that the government made. The government made the deal with Cortec. And so that is what they have been sharing for the past.
So which entity made it? The Miss entity, GDOE or the governor and the lieutenant governor? Who made the lease?
This was the governor in the past. I believe it's Felix Camacho. However,
okay,
yeah.
And then now it's the Luleon girls has to pick up. Yeah, just the same way as Judith Wampat has to pick up Swanson's.
Yes.
Wherever he left off, right?
Can pick up wherever, but the new leadership, they can have their own initiative. But yes, when it came to the possibility and addressing the population is getting smaller, right?
Because of the charter schools. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It's charter schools. Yeah, the charter schools are taking most of the kids.
That's a
but
good
yet,
point.
are they holding up the standards of the education? Are they
have different
abiding by
standards.
GDOE?
No, they have different standards.
Oh, okay, so then I really don't know. But other than that, the governor of Guam, Lou, and Josh Tenorio, Lou Leon Guerrero, Brad, because you guys are already going to get out on up until next year, they're going to appoint a new governor. Do something. You said you were going to do it. You said you guys were going to do it when you guys got elected. We're all in. I voted for you, Brad. All in. I was all in. Alpha Pago, we ran out. Nothing's going to be done. We have to point fingers now. That's not right, bro. These kids are our future, bro. Listen, these kids are our future. Governor and lieutenant governor. The legislature, these kids are our future. They need the education. Build the school, bro. My kids don't, all my kids are graduated. They're all in the military. I'm just a civil servant, bro. Build the school, bro. They deserve it. How long already? 13, 16 years already?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
Some of
the numbers might even be closer to 20. Yeah.
The prior governor and the governor now. You should be ashamed of yourself, bro. You're putting all these kids into jeopardy. What? You think they're going to be sitting in a computer and not everybody got internet, bro? Not everybody's fortunate enough to have a internet at their house.
That is true. That's why they're picking up the worksheets, right? But then it
even at that,
it is an inconvenience.
They have to go from Zigo to wherever they're going to go, and the gas is spent.
Right.
The parents or the parents, both parents are working. Who's going to take them? You know, into alphabetical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to take them? Can you wait until my lunch hour and I'll come and I'll take you to school and this, Fanhasu. Think about what you guys are doing. Fix it, bro. The more you're making all the lawyers, bro, all the lawyers are getting rich right now. I'm not comprending, bro. When I was going to school, we had no aircon. We were using fan. So after Napago, we do this because we love our kids. They need the education. But you guys don't want to do nothing. And so you guys want to point fingers, bro. Man, 60 pa magun siya po ako na tempo ba? I feel it still man that you no like no have to get no. Judy, I don't know about Judy want that but she's I guess The way I see it, she looks like she's getting hit from left to right, bro, from everybody. And she just came in, January?
Yeah.
And you guys, none of these guys, the government is, hey, let's go put somebody in there so we can blame. That's what they're doing, the blame game. I don't know about what you guys are planning on doing, but think of the kids, bro. Precisonia preciso escuela. Lo precisonia, right? Pasat. No, bro. People go over there, they need help. Most of them are already going. We got our kids, our young kids now. They're growing. They need that education. They need that school. You guys gonna rebuild? You guys gonna build a GMH? You know the parking lot at GMH? Put pillars in there. Put poles. Put on that parking lot. Build them on top of that parking lot. Above the parking lot.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Extend it.
Parking
break the other
garage.
side of GMH down and then rebuild it while they finish the front.
You're saying
Nah, you guys got no common sense. But I know it takes money and it takes the legislature. But at this point of time, bro, a lot of people always say it's gonna take the act of Congress to build a school. No, bro. They better be more than just that. They better build a school. They need to, right? I don't know what the hell's going on, but they really do. These kids are, I don't know. Now you guys are the governor and the lieutenant governor, and they're going to get out in January. They don't want to do nothing. The legislature, Alpha, what's going on, Brad? Everybody just wants to make money, Brad.
You've been making some fair points, friend, and so thanks for the phone call. There's somebody else that wants to get on the line, if that's okay, yeah?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for the phone call. Line 2, Hafaday, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hey, Hafaday po.
Hey, Frank.
Hafaday, sharing the frustration. And, it's true what he's saying, because this is a very, some people, they don't have internet. And, they have a lot of children that are, less fortunate that don't have internet. Parents don't have cars. Gas is so expensive. To me, Pauly, but the problem areas like GMH and DOE, I think they need constant. They have to have a open legislation there, or a constant oversight of those two agencies, and oversee them, constant micromanage by the legislature and other stakeholders, because this is just ridiculous. What's going on. And it's true. We kind of blame everything on Judy Wampat, but she took the job. She took the job. So at the end, she's responsible. That's what I got to say about that. You took the job. Now you're responsible for it. Anything that happens there now, irregardless, whatever, you're responsible. You need to fix it because you're responsible now. We can look in the past and blame the other guy or whatnot, but when it falls on the new person's lap, that's their responsibility now. Fix what broke there and fix what wasn't fixed from the other guy that was there before you. But I think constant oversight of these problem agencies is needed. They need to set aside a couple of senators and constantly oversight them and micromanage them.
It looks like there will be
on top of things.
Looks like there will be an oversight hearing tomorrow.
Yeah, I want them to oversight them all the way until we don't have no problems there. We cannot just make laws and say, okay, we're just going to fix it and then just leave it and not see it through. Because that's what's happening. You know, we look at the hospital. I never even heard what happened, Pauly, with that company. Who owns that company that they hired to collect money, and that company just made $5 million for doing nothing? Who owns that company? Nobody even wants to talk. Somebody big must be involved in that company. You ask me, because they're not even bringing anything up about that. How come they're not trying to look into that? And who signed off on that? Who's responsible for that? Giving $5 million away to a company that did nothing. You know, this thing too with Cortec, I think they're like a leech. You know, they're a leech. They've been making a lot of money here in Guam. You know, and for them to turn around and do that to the people of Guam after they've been benefiting and prospering here on the island is wrong. You know, Cortec should really think about what they're saying and what they're doing to the kids and how they're going about responding. You know, I don't think that's nice. They have to be a good neighbor to the island, to the people here. You know, you're benefiting, you're prospering here on Guam, and a lot of these contracts that Cortec got, man, they really made a lot of money here in Guam, maybe almost $1 billion already. But we kind of, like what the last caller just said, you know, we kind of just all blame it on Wampat. But Wampat now, she has to answer for it. She's responsible now. She has to fix it. And she has to address and you know, if she saw these problems, she should have came out in the news, came on your show and talked about it. But I'm glad that she's looking at the you know, like the entertaining,
right?
Entertaining redistricting and not building Sanchez. Because Pauly, if we keep going to the bond market and borrowing money, once we reach that ceiling, Pauly, you know what's going to happen once we reach the ceiling? What happens when we reach the ceiling on the bond market? They have to raise property taxes. Right. You know that, right?
Right.
You know that? You know that, right, Paul?
Yeah, I understand. And that's why
but when you keep borrowing, like Pauly, you keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and writing checks that your butt can't cash or whatever the saying is, what's going to happen is they're going to come back and tax the people. And the government shouldn't be borrowing any more money. They should be responsible, try to pay off something, and then borrow money. Don't keep borrowing and we still owe a lot of money. It's ridiculous. It's dumb.
I don't disagree with you. However, the decision makers that you're talking about that are the ones that decide on policy and appropriate money, a majority of them were at Sunday's protests movement to build Simon Sanchez. So the political will is to rebuild Simon Sanchez, and these senators are showing up, including Congressman Jim Moylan. They've already showed up. Yeah.
You know what they're doing, right? They're pandering. They're pandering to get votes. And it's wrong.
And it is
wrong. They have
wrong.
to be truthful. They have to be strong.
It is wrong if that is what they are doing. But I'm going to take them. I'm going to take them, give them the benefit of the doubt that they are not pandering, and we hold them accountable to their actions, right? And so their actions were. We saw those actions.
Pauly, you know, all I see 10 years from now, Pauly, is Guam in a whole lot of debt and a whole less service. You know, we're going to be laying off people. You know, it's going to come, Pauly, man. The storm is coming. We're entering. Look what's going on around the world and all of this with money and finances and all these things. This is what's happening on Guam. It's not going to last forever. We're gonna, you know, we have to start preparing now and start being prudent and start being smart for the future and what's coming. Because it's already starting already, Pauly. It's starting.
Yeah, and Frank,
we don't want to be hurting later on because you know who's going to be hurting? Your kids, my grandkids. Think about it.
Yeah, no. So, you know, if I'm lucky to still be on the radio in 10 years, I will give you the credit for sure. Be like, Frank told us. 10 years ago, Frank was on this show telling us, and here we are.
We don't need, Pauly, you don't need to have a crystal ball. You can see it, what's going on around the world. I know you read and you're watching what's going on, you know, around the world with politics, economics, China, Asia, the Middle East, happening. And we have to be smart. We have to be smart. And if we're not smart, We're not the one that's going to suffer. We're not even living too long nowadays here on this island. It's going to be our children, Pauly,
Right.
and our grandchildren that are
so,
going to be suffering.
I mean, obviously, I don't have to. At this point, I don't need to play what we were ready to play. But
Look
it
at what's
was,
happening in the CNMI, Pauly.
Yes, I know. They don't even go to school 5 days out of the week. Yeah,
See, man,
there
we have
are
to prepare.
concerns, and so they're saying these
let's
things.
Let's pray that it doesn't happen,
Right.
Pauly. But
I
if
agree.
it does happen, let's be prepared.
They're saying these things. They are very concerned. Judy Wampat is saying a lot of the things that you're saying. However, at a Guam Education Board hearing just yesterday, Maria Gutierrez is calling out people that are on the board that said that they should not build Simon Sanchez. However, what happened? Everybody was mum. Nobody was willing to say who exactly were those board members that were saying this in past meetings, some of those meetings that weren't even on the record. And you heard Francis Lizama, the Jigo mayor, that said, I was told from you, Superintendent, that you have recently said not to build Simon Sanchez. Superintendent Wampat doesn't say yes or no whether that is true or not. And so that is what I've been talking about for the past 2 days. And I appreciate you calling and others calling about being fiscal responsible. But our leaders are not saying what you're saying on the record. They are either standing in solidarity with those that want to build Simon Sanchez, whether we like it or not, or they are pandering, like you said. And that's why we got to keep people accountable.
I got to give Wampat a credit, Pauly, right now for keeping an open mind and thinking about that and giving it a thought about it, Pauly, because, man, if we keep borrowing money, man, I can just see Guam and this government and our people being taxed the bejeebies out of, And I don't want that. I don't want to suffer like that. I don't want our services to go down. I want our government to be good, lean, and a hard-working machine.
Right.
Let's train the people. When we have a problem in one agency, I want to see the governor put people that know the same thing in the other agencies and go help that agency out. Move these people around. Play with your manpower. If you need the manpower there, you take people from public works and GDOE and go help the hospital. Move the people around. Put the help. Have a strike force and have these people that got the knowledge and go there and solve that problem, help that agency. And in return, when that agency has a problem, they go over there and they help that other agency. That's what needs to happen right now, Pauly. We need to be lean. We need to be mean. We need to be a working machine here, We need to get our stuff together here, Pauly, because things are only going to get worse. And we're seeing it all around the world.
Frank, I appreciate what you're saying,
right.
and you make some really good points. However, okay, take care.
All right.
Okay. And here's the thing, though. We live in a democracy, and so the majority of people are not on the same side of what Frank is saying.
I like his saying, though. Lean, mean machine.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Lean, mean, fighting machine.
That's right.
That sounds like the bad guy, though, that fights Rocky.
Sounds more like...
Sounds like the villain.
The king of Sting.
We'll take the break.
Ayatollah
Yeah, we don't.
roll.
So we don't need to do the. We'll skip the AP news.
Yeah,
and
okay.
we'll just let's just go to traffic.
Sure,
Okay.
let's do that. All right. Once again, it's about that time. We check in with traffic. 5:05, actually 5:06 in the afternoon. And it's our first look for the 5 o'clock hour at your daily commute. Moving you forward along with Guam Auto Spot, standing by, lean, mean, and he is a traffic machine. Mr. Pauly Suba, buenas.
No, honestly, the people that need to be commended are the ones that are in it right now.
Mhm.
They're the ones that are experienced. I'm just here in the comfort of this studio.
No, I think you're smart.
So I'm not dealing with what you're dealing with on the roadways.
Avoiding all of that.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Northbound Marine Corps Drive around the Hagåtña Boat Basin. Expect those delays until you make that right turn onto Route 4. It clears up for you. Pretty decent there all the way up to Sinahanya. I mean, it kind of does slow down up on the hill, but once you get past that traffic light there where both gas stations are staring at each other, then it's all downhill literally into Talampago, right? So that's okay. And then if you continue straight onto Marine Corps Drive, that's not too bad until you get to around the ITC intersection. Route 8 looks pretty decent as well for you, all the way until you get around the tri-intersection, which is looking like it could be a quad intersection.
Nice.
Yes. Also, we've been talking about, right, the Barragata post office side.
Yeah.
So Linda Ibanez, the PDN was the one that broke the story.
Okay.
They got the interview with Linda Ibanez, and she confirmed through PDN that they are going to open up that side also by the Barragata post office.
See, that's the Frank
Right?
mantra right there, man. The Frank mantra. Lean, mean, fighting machine.
Get it done.
Get it done.
Get it done. Once again, helping you move forward is Guam Auto Spot, 478 Auto. View the inventory, guamautospot.com.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the eVolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The eVolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. eVolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. Member FDIC.
Our critically injured veterans and first responders are left behind every day because of inadequate wheelchairs. That's why Wheelchairs for Warriors is on a mission to serve America's heroes across the nation and provide them with custom-fit wheelchairs tailored to fit their needs to ensure they're rejoining their lives at the highest level of independent mobility and function possible. From lightweight daily use chairs or adaptive sports chairs to all-terrain wheelchairs to get these warriors outdoors. Wheelchairs for Warriors serves those who've served us. To join their mission, visit their website at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
News, views, and everything Guam cares about. Wave 105.
Pauly, I think I have a knack for finding songs that match the issues. You've blown it all sky high by telling me a lie.
Well, the challenge is, who's telling the truth? That's the challenge.
I think I'll play Lionel Richie, Truly.
All right. We do want to thank our sponsors, yeah?
Yes.
Chili's Grill and Bar. At Chili's, more life, great food, and memories happen here. Micropack. Heading off island, capture every moment with cameras and memory cards from Micropack. Subway, you got to refresh to be fresh. Triple J, it's big deals on big wheels at Triple J Ford. Save thousands off retail. Drive home a new Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Visit Triple J Ford today. Customers first. GTA, we start with you. I do want to share some good news, and that's thanks to Provisions Wine and Cheese. Provisions is open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call Provisions at 671-633-9463. And this comes from Brookhaven, Long Island, New York, where there's a golden retriever named Barley who has found an unlikely best friend, a pecking duck.
Wow.
Barley was diagnosed with epilepsy back in February of 2024.
Okay.
After suffering several seizures. Medication stopped the seizures, but her family, Tori and Justin Canarelli, noticed something heartbreaking. Barley wasn't acting like herself anymore. She became sleepy and withdrawn and seemed like she was no longer her playful personality, right?
Yeah.
And so, golden retrievers that is their personality. They're very playful, right?
Very playful.
So the Canarellis originally got a tiny pecking duck after Justin found a post about ducklings that needed homes. Louis was only 4 days old when he met Barley in May of 2024, and something immediately changed. Barley became interested in the little duckling, and as the weeks went by, the two became inseparable. Tori said Barley started smiling again, wagging her tail, and showing her personality again.
Awesome.
Today, Louis follows Barley around the yard. They play together, wrestle gently, share snacks, and relax together. Louis even prefers eating from a dog bowl, prompting Tori to joke that the duck seems to think he's a dog. And they have their own Instagram. It's called Duck and Dog.
Duck and Dog?
And they are some of the most popular influencers on Instagram right now.
I'm gonna follow them.
Yeah. It's really cool just watching them interact. But this is 2024 when they first joined, right? Became family, brothers even, or sisters, sorry. And you can see, even today, they're still posting. Yeah.
Awesome.
Some good news there.
Very good news, considering.
Once again, what do you mean considering?
With all the bad stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like, considering you want to eat the duck?
Yeah. think that's
thought that's where you're gonna go. Like, don't eat the duck.
I think that's what piqued the interest of the golden retriever at first. Is like, yeah, you look good.
there is a video which looks like he is gonna eat the duck, but they're just playing. He literally had her neck. Or she had her neck in her mouth.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I'm like, I hope this doesn't go the wrong way.
Yeah.
But yeah. So once again, Provisions Wine and Cheese, they're located near the Bank of Guam in Hagåtña.
We have 2 calls standing by online. Let's hit line 1 first.
Hafaday, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Good afternoon, Pauly.
Jesse! What's up, friend?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. What are your thoughts on anything?
That's great. GDOE. 1, 2, 3.
GDOE gets a B?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know,
well,
man.
technically, Tizin and Simon Sanchez, they got a D, right? So.
Yeah, but it's just, just Tizin in general is kind of, it doesn't make sense that the central office for GDOE is right across. You can just walk over there. You can practically almost reach the front door, and how would you not know that was going on at the school? Yeah, that's the closest school to GDOE's office. Even to the point where all of the board members report there when it's time for a meeting.
The JP Torres, that was what it was before, is just in the same parking lot. They share the parking lot.
Yeah. But, again, I think it's unfortunate that the students are going through what they're going through now. And the reason for my call is it doesn't make sense that the higher leadership are making all of the decisions in regards to what happens with Simon Sanchez and
Tizin.
Tizin, yeah. I'll give you an example, Pauly. They're on online learning and hard copy for their assignments. GDOE already knows that online learning has no productivity whatsoever, right? Student attendance, how many are actually really, listening to what the lesson's about and all of that. There's too much distraction. But GDOE tends to just revert to that if the school is closed down, right? Then when the school opens, now online learning is not effective. We got to go back to the classroom again, right? Why can't the teachers make that decision on their own? Because they're the ones in the classroom with the students, not the superintendent, not the board members. Zero, right? And I know that the president of GFT is, included in a lot of their meetings. But again, I really believe when I was still teaching that when we started to go online due to the pandemic, I just believe in my heart there was a violation of the teacher contract. Yeah. I'll give you an example too. How does one teach PE online?
It can be difficult because you're not watching to see who's doing the jumping jacks correctly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as productive as that they say it is. But again, if the school's closed, okay, the best form of learning and instruction is online, and they know already for a fact that it's not. But if a teacher says, "Hey, I want to stay online," yeah, Tizin is open, right, for the Tizin students and Simon Sanchez. But as a teacher, I want to stay online. Who's going to make that call?
The superintendent's office, right?
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Why? Because if they say that they know better than the rest, you already know that online is not a conducive type of conducive for learning per se. But why can I stay on that if I feel that, I can make it work, right? I can make it work. So, it's like a flip-flop.
Sure.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah. And that's one of my main concerns to me is that online learning. They gotta find another way to salvage it. Now, if they miss school, then they have to make it up. But of course, going physically to report to an actual facility for education is way better off the bat. If that can happen, then they should make it up.
Understood. Jesse, thanks for the phone call.
All right. Sir, and
hey.
Blowing old sky high.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Is there somebody else on?
Yes, line 2.
Hoffaday, Wave 105, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hoffaday. Hi, you're on the air.
I'm on the air?
Yes.
This is Jordan Paul.
Hoffaday, Jordan.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
So, calling in because I was listening to your last caller and, we talk a lot about higher leadership and making decisions for education, and I think it's really important for people to go back and understand the legal and factual history of how we got to where we are.
Oh, please help us.
Yeah, so one of the things I did when this whole thing came out is I actually went and pulled the old contract for the Tejan campus because my son's in JFK this year. I have a bunch of teachers that are actually teaching at friends that are teaching at Sanchez, and was following that as it went along. And we pay a lot of money for the Tejan campus on a daily basis. I think the obligation is about $25,000 a day, and we need to expect results for that from our contractors and from our leaders who are spending that money. So if we're spending that type of money, we do need to actually hold people accountable for that and hold the contractors accountable for actually opening the schools that we're paying them to do. I think that we talk about higher leadership and want these decisions made in our community, but the reason we do hire superintendents is we expect them to make the decisions when we confront these difficult opportunities and circumstances. But we also expect them to make those decisions for and in consultation with the schools, the villages, and the families that live there. And so looking back at the historical circumstances, I don't think what we're seeing today is a problem that's just cropped up overnight. It's actually something that is decades of neglect in the making. And it is because we have gotten ourselves into contractual relationships that are very costly, and we haven't used all of the legal tools available to us to hold both the government accountable for results as well as the contractors that are getting money for these as well. The only people left holding the bag are the students that actually have no vote or say-so in any of this process. And so, I think what we need to look at is actually finding ways to do contract evaluations, having resolutions of the contract management issues and other things that the law already contemplates. We get very emotional about these things, and I see the calls for the resignation of Judy Wan-Pat 3 weeks into the school year. I don't envy Superintendent Wan-Pat's job. She's inheriting that decades of neglect. I don't know if at this particular moment a call for resignation is helpful because she's barely been given an opportunity to correct the issues. That said, I do think, the law requires schools to be open, and so we do need to expect her to turn this ship around pretty quickly, and she should be given a little bit of an opportunity still to be frank about what the real problems are and to get the kids back to school in their own communities. Because I think that is what we've entrusted those leaders to do with the law. The statute requires them, these agency leaders, to dedicate their lives and business to the community. and to the work of their agency. So I think if she can demonstrate within the next several weeks that she can do that, I think we can trust her to really lead that forward. And I know that they have a legal team over at DOE that can actually help with these contractual issues, because these issues that have been around since 2008 or 2009 when the Tianjin campus was contracted for, and the legal obligations under the current contractual arrangement will carry us on until 2040, 2041. And so we do need to actually make sure that we're making use of all of our legal tools. And so I think Superintendent Juan Pat deserves some opportunity still to demonstrate that we can get the school year started, but she needs to do that pretty quickly. Otherwise, in the next school years and beyond, we need to start looking for new leadership and new ideas so we don't continue the same cycle. And this opportunity for new leadership isn't exclusive to DOE either. It is something that has stagnated our laws and procurements for a long time, because even in the historical analysis of DOE, they used to be their procurement rules used to stop them from spending federal funds. They used to be stuck with a $15,000 or $25,000 small purchase threshold, even when purchasing with federal money. The federal government actually came in and mandated that they use a higher $250,000 threshold, which is the federal threshold for small purchases, so they could actually procure the goods and services and get those things to the students who need them the most. So sometimes we have this law that does stand a little bit in the way in our expectations with it, and we do need to be aggressive in getting these schools open and making the most of the law, but also understanding the historical circumstances behind it.
Some of the historical circumstances, and Ryan and I are even scratching our head. I think even Judy Guthertz is scratching her head when we were following along with what she was saying and the findings in the contract. Are you familiar? Can you go into an agreement with a company, and we're just going to use Cortec because that's what we're talking about, and then come to find out that they have handed over the deed to a nonprofit organization or that contract, and now they are only doing the maintenance because of the negotiations that they made with this nonprofit? And so how did we go into an agreement with Cortec and then now can't negotiate with them when it comes to what is on the contract in the past? Are you following?
And I think,
does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. And I think that that's one of the important points of having, well-prepared superintendents, well-prepared procurement officials, well-prepared governors and attorney generals, too, to actually review these things and ensure that every time we make a change to them, they actually comply with the law. Because if the government of Guam contracted with Cortec, there should be a direct line for holding Cortec accountable for the money that's being spent. But if we have this third party that comes in, we need to make real decisions, both practical policy ones as well as legal decisions about whether that complies with the law. Because anytime you bring in a third party, it changes the contractual relationship.
It does.
And my view is typically what you need to do then if you're bringing in a third party is the procurement law typically requires you to redo the whole relationship and do it in a competitive and open manner. Right. It doesn't mean that has to happen every single time due to circumstances, but when you are bringing in a third party, they shouldn't be brought in, I say, on a sole source basis or without competition and public review of why they're being brought in.
Right. And that's the situation, because that's what Guthertz was saying. It's as though their hands are tied. Superintendent Wampat's hands are tied because they can't go out for bid to find something cheaper. They must work with Cortec for the maintenance.
Yeah, but the other thing, too, is one of the things that kind of surprises me about this contract is a lot of procurement contracts, there is always this, there's supposed to be a clause in government contracts where you can terminate it for the convenience of the territory or for Guam, right? Yeah. The statute says territory, but so on a fiscal year, at the end of a fiscal year or within a certain period of time contemplated by the contract, the government is supposed to be able to give notice that we are canceling our further obligations under the contract because it's in the best interests of the territory. However, when we get into these long-term relationships where we haven't put that actual legally required term into the contract, what we end up doing is handicapping ourselves for future negotiations. It doesn't mean that the contractor isn't paid for past stuff. Anything that the services that the contractor's already performed, they get paid for. But it doesn't require us, if it is in the best interests of the community and the island, to continue that relationship over the long term. And that is actually a legal requirement. That term, termination for convenience, is what it is called from the procurement law.
Well, Jordan, if the government decides to do what you're saying, terminate the contract, they still maintain the actual facility because we're trying to lease it back. So
yes.
it's really not a loss on them if we do cancel if the government of Guam cancels.
And I think we're gonna lose out tremendously if we're 2041 is when they hand it off to us. We need that facility. We've been paying
and I agree,
into it.
and I think that that's something that we need to look at up front when we're determining the legality of these things, and that's why it becomes a little bit of a
it's a sticky situation.
It's a sticky situation because we have entered into this long-term arrangement without actually a regular assessment of whether it's good for the territory annually, right? It may have been good in 2008 or 2009, but looking at the pictures that were coming out of the Tishan campus while they were trying to open it, and now the fact that they're still closed, demonstrates that it's not for us, at least today on August 25th, 2026.
Right. We're right in the middle of this contract, and I'm also hearing that the contract was extended. And how does it get extended without our leaders knowing that it got extended?
Yeah, and that's one thing too, is sometimes there are certain leaders that need to approve these extensions, and they do so. But I think my view is that we should require public notice of contract extensions so the public knows about them when they are occurring. We should do them. We have the right to do them, but they should be done on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And also, if we're engaging in these leaseback programs, I do think that there should be a term written into the contract that allows us to buy out the whole leaseback amount. So we have agreed up front what the total amount is, and so even if we want to end the arrangement today, we can pay a lump sum and be done with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that can actually help with that termination for convenience clause and actually help make it applicable to these public-private partnership leaseback deals like this, is to have a sort of termination for convenience with a buyout clause specifying what the number or formula is that the government can pay to just take control and end the long-term ongoing relationship. Because if we're paying $25,000 a day right now, that's over $9 million a year. And this was a contract that wasn't even entered into by DOE. It was entered into by the government. And now DOE has to deal with the budgetary ramifications of this contract.
It kind of reminds me. I mean, it's a little bit off, but when actual corporations come in, right, and they build a hotel, the government of Guam goes into an agreement of giving them a QC, and that QC lasts for like 30 years. But if that hotel corporation decides to sell, it was such a big thing because the person that they sell to would automatically continue that QC, but it doesn't work that way because you're going to have to lay off, and there was just so many different intricacies of the deal that was made with the first owner and then dealing with the second owner, because the agreement of a QC, right, was to hire locals and everything and all. Well, the new owner coming in is not obligated to that, but part of the selling deal was, hey, you get a tax break for like 30 some years.
Yeah, that was the agreement that you made with the people of Guam.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I think they took care of it. I don't think they allow new hotel owners to actually continue QCs, that they would have to redo the whole thing again with the government of Guam. So going back to making agreements with the government of Guam in this whole GDOE thing, I kind of like your idea. I really do. I mean, it clears a lot of things that could have been non-starter, with this whole current contract that
well,
we have.
You've been following Jordan, right? And so when you talk about what Dr. Wampat wants to do now, right, is saying we're going to be talking with the contractors, that we're going to assess, we're going to make sure that all of these repairs get done, and then we will renegotiate. Does that benefit us in the long run? Because it might be a blank check, and we don't know what we're going to owe.
And I think that that's where being transparent about these negotiations is going to be important, because, to the extent that we need to get our kids educated this school year, we may need to pay a premium for that as a community to make up for our decades of neglect, because it shouldn't be our kids and their education that's left holding the bag.
Exactly.
But that said, at the same time, we do need to make sure that doesn't shortchange us in the future. And so I think transparency and accountability for those decisions is what's going to define the success and failure of Superintendent Wampat here, because I really think that she has an opportunity to fix it. And if she is upfront and frank about the real issues and problems and how she intends to resolve them, I think she can earn the trust of the community. But I think she's at that turning point between, earning that trust or repeating some of the same mistakes. I think she is capable of doing it, and I think the next several weeks will prove to us whether she can get those results that I know she's capable of getting.
Understood. Well, thank you so much, Jordan. I thank you for your insight, too, and your expertise.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
And the other thing that I always tell people, these contracts and other things are public records. Please feel free to go out there, find them, ask the agencies for them, because this is how we get the information so we can stay informed. Go to the primary sources. We don't just need to listen to what our friends, families, and, Pauly, radio hosts tell us about it. We can read it for ourselves.
You don't have to apologize to me. Because I'm going to take your advice and reach out and see if I can also look at those contracts that you're looking at.
So,
all right.
Take care. Have a great afternoon, Pauly.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
You have a good one.
Jarena is on our YouTube. She says, money, money, money seems to be a part of the solution. 38th legislature majority take $126 million from the people of Guam, for whom former senator and now the education superintendent reports daily on Mornings with Patty. She could hide behind attorneys or PR people. So I understand her saying she's not hiding behind attorneys or PR people. She is having these conversations with Patty in the morning. Adrena is also saying her daily reports provide evidence that she's accepting responsibility, trying her best to do what is right and good for all stakeholders. Jarena says Superintendent Wampat Borja, it's Wampat, is under the gun from every angle. I believe she's doing well considering what she inherited. I'm praying for her. More importantly, I am hoping that she gets it's Wampat. Her son is Wampat Borja.
Yeah, her son's Wampat Borja.
I am hoping that she gets more than lip service from the 38th. It is time to rise above party politics for and in behalf of the people of Guam. And she says, let's follow the oversight hearing closely. That's tomorrow at 9 a.m. And see what kind of leadership emerges. Let this influence our vote at the general election. We got somebody else?
Caller in line 1.
Okay, we don't have much time because we do got to take that last break. But go ahead. Off at 8, Wave 105. You're on the air.
Hey, Pauly, your show is fire.
No.
Obviously, everybody is very, very much concerned about GDOE and particularly Tizan and Sanchez. And you're probably the center of all this attention. And unfortunately, it's probably going to continue because we're hearing that there's going to be an oversight hearing about all this.
Tomorrow,
is that correct?
Yes, tomorrow at 9 at the legislature.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow at 9 a.m., sorry.
Oh, 9 a.m. Okay, so this is not going to end. And I think besides just everybody venting and pointing figures and blaming it sounds like there's some good ideas coming out. It sounds like Attorney General Jordan Paloon is being constructive and saying that there is a way forward. So your show, again, is illuminating leadership, and hopefully the leadership will rise up to the challenge. I guess Mr. Paloon is still optimistic that Judy Wampat can use the many millions of dollars at her disposal to help our
Saying
our
about
kids.
3 weeks. Let's see what she can do. How she can prove herself within the next coming weeks.
Well, I
Demonstrate.
think she might actually only have a couple of hours, because if the oversight is starting tomorrow at 9 a.m., it is unlikely that everybody's going to be as nice as you are. We're pretty certain the knives are going to come out, and Tello and others down there who are not so, I guess, not so filtered, are probably going to use the chance to beat up on Judy Wampat, and they're not going to miss. It's just kind of it's at this point a rather easy process to destroy her career. And this is a lady that has many, many years of good service to the people of Guam, and it is a shame that it is being destroyed by this event. This is really the revenge of the short bus, and Judy's being run over by it. So that being said, from a political standpoint, it really feels like this, along with the decline of the further decline of our airport, our Guam Memorial Hospital, our tourism. There's so many things going on right now that weren't illuminated by the politicians during the primary. It really felt like everybody was saying how wonderful things were, and we just needed to get the right people reelected, and we could just continue the good times. It's jarring to experience the amount of failures being manifested by the government of Guam. After we had just gone through a primary, it seemed like there was just a lot of rainbows, unicorns, and sunshine as to how terrific everything was moving forward.
Well, you know that they are going to have to make some very tough decisions. And I would rather they be honest and actually make these tough decisions and have the courage to stand on what they're saying in closed doors and be upfront with people than to say one thing behind closed doors and then during these oversight hearings or at these Simon Sanchez rebuild protests, stand there and cheer with them. That's not being genuine. And so some of these decisions might mean that you are going to have to cut. How do we have a $1.5 billion budget? However, it looks like we are, our population at the schools are decreasing. There's there are less activity happening at the airport, and so the operation costs are high. However, our government continues to get bigger and bigger, and yet it sounds like we need to actually take a step back and minimize our operations.
No, and I hear the anger in your voice, but you have people like Vince Borja acting like he's a leader because he allowed this all to happen, and now he's going to have an oversight where he's going to pontificate that he knows the way forward and he's being statesmanlike. But this was all predictable. He was disrespected by Judy Wampat. She didn't show up to his meetings that he called for to try to get things ready, and then he didn't do anything about it. He didn't cut. He didn't force Judy Wampat through the legislative process of policy and purse strings to come to the table. He blessed everybody with a record DOE budget, despite the fact, like you said, we have decreasing membership in terms of the student body. And now, after everything's done, he has the brilliance of speaking about redistricting or rearranging the school. This is after the school's already started. I'm sorry, I'm getting angry just because this is actually Chris Duenas' fault. He was the guy in charge of this whole process of funding our current debacle of a government, and he acted like he had won something or had done something magnificent. So, yeah, I think the people of Guam are finally getting to see our government where it really exists. It isn't as good as Josh and Tina were saying. Lou's wrong. Her legacy that she was trying to shove down Therese Terlai's throat is not something worth continuing. And Chris Duenas as the Ways and Means dude and Frank Boss Jr. as the speaker, they ain't the solution either. These bozo heads took a lot of money, pretended to be leaders, and they've left the kids without a school. The hospital's on fire. There's no tourists coming to Guam. This is not the Guam that they were selling us during the primary election.
I understand what you're saying, and so maybe we have the money today to bail out the airport, but will we have the money using the same budget that we have 4 years from now? You either have to balloon the budget to help all of these agencies, or really just be honest with these agencies and the people that live here that we're going to have to cut costs, and we're going to have to make some really big cuts in order for us to not even thrive, but to survive out here.
Well, either than that, or we just charge our tourists more money to come to Guam, so that, of course, they'll be so happy to come back. I mean, really,
that
at this
is
point,
an
they're starting
option
to
that
eat their
they
own
have
hands.
shared.
They're eating their own legs. The legislators have gotten into such a corner where they refuse to cut, like Sabrina Salas Matanani claimed she was going to do as a healthcare chair, where the hospital was supposed to cut. And then Melanie Mendiola, in her first statements as a board chair, or not board chair, but as a board member at GMH, said she was going to cut. But nothing's happened. They've lied to the people. And I guess there are certain people like Ryan who are depressed about it. But honestly, this was our government. No, but it's the thing. Is
No,
that,
I get it.
know,
And you're not going to appease everybody. You're just going to have to make these tough decisions. You're not going to make everybody happy, because
they're not making anybody happy now. Right now, nobody's happy.
But there are cuts being made at
to us and
GMH.
nobody's happy.
Right? There are cuts being made to GMH with this private partnership over at the skilled nursing. However, there is worry that the patients there aren't going to get the same kind of service when it does get privatized. And others are saying, no, actually, they'll probably get better service.
The parking lot looks good.
Well, and GRMC is working out pretty well. Everybody who wants to go there, their waiting room is full. They're alleging that the government of Guam is can do a better job than the private sector. When did that ever happen?
Oh, well,
they don't have all the services available at GRMC either.
Yeah. No, in the private sector, when you are not making money, you start cutting, right?
Yeah.
Here on Guam, it's backwards. When we don't have the money, everybody's hiring left or right.
And giving raises.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vince, we got to run.
Again, I don't think Ryan should get depressed that his people are finally seeing that their leaders are lying. I mean, it's part of that staged recovery thing, right? You first you have to acknowledge that you have a problem, and then once you have the problem, you need to suffer. I mean, the thing is, it's the pain that will prevent you from doing it again. That's why fire causes burns, and so you quit touching the stove when you're not supposed to, or whatever.
My father used to say, in order for it to heal, it has to hurt.
That should be a song. In fact, that should be Lulian Guerrero's theme song, because
sounds
she's
like
hurt
a country song.
As a governor, she has hurt her people. And,
it's time to heal. Thanks, Vince.
Bye.
Okay, take care.
All right. Well, the silver lining here though is, next week, or what? I think we have how many more days till September?
We have just the remainder of this week and 2 days next week.
Can we do Burr
September 1st. Oh, yeah, Christmas, baby!
Can I start playing Christmas music?
Yes!
I mean,
I am down.
I'm
down
tired,
to
play. Like Doc said, I'm tired of being depressed.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Let's transition. Right?
Yes, all
It's not so wonderful on the roadways.
Oh.
But hey, when, at least you're tuned into the radio, and that usually allows for time to go by, right? I wouldn't say we're having fun, but we are engaging with each other, and I appreciate everybody's comments and phone calls today. We're not all agreeing, and that's part of a healthy community. I think we're talking about it. There is discourse, and I appreciate being part of the conversation. And I appreciate you doing it as well right here on Wave 105.
It's my first day back.
So
man. All of this? Jeez. I was only
Welcome
gone for 5
back,
days.
Ryan!
Gosh.
Welcome back.
All you leaders, it's all your fault.
The phone line, you got it busy. Ryan is busy. All right, so everybody else is busy on the roadways just trying to navigate heading northbound. Route 10A onto onto Route 1. Expect to see plenty of your friends on Route 1 already, and there's a whole bunch of them in the Upper Tumon area. It is slow moving throughout Tamuning, Upper Tumon, past the Micronesia Mall. Things kind of open up for you right around the Harmon Loop area, and they definitely open up after the Sangsong intersection. I don't see too many issues on Route 4. There are some delays on 10 getting onto 4, and obviously mild delays on 8 headed towards the Tri. 5:52 in the afternoon. We do got to take this break right here on Wave 105.
Got friends who still haven't switched to GTA? Now's the time to give them a nudge, because you can get up to $150 just for sending them our way. Refer a friend who signs up for a single service like wireless or internet, and you'll score $100. And if they go for a choice bundle, that's a cool $150 in your pocket. It's simple, it's sweet, and it pays to share. Visit GTA.net to start referring today. GTA, we start with you. Terms and conditions apply. Visit GTA.net for more information.
Need a truck that works as hard as you do? Then head to Triple J Ford's Big Deals on Big Wheels sales event. For a limited time, score prices below dealer cost and drive home America's best-selling truck for 49 years. The legendary Ford F-150 starting at just $39,995. Choose from the rugged XL, stylish STX, or well-equipped XLT. All backed by the strength, capability, and innovation only Ford delivers. But don't wait. All stock must go. Visit Triple J Ford in Upper Tumon or get pre-approved and shop online at triplejguam.com. Triple J Ford, customers first.
Calling all seniors, there's nothing like Silver Savings Tuesday at Agana Shopping Center. If you're 55 and better, Tuesdays are made just for you. All senior citizens can now enjoy special discounts and deals every Tuesday at Vitamin World, SM Island, Miniso, Capricciosa, Taco Bell, Robbins Planters, Cinnabon, Subway, and of course, Ross Dress for Less. Great food, smart savings, and island favorites all in one place and all for seniors. Silver Savings Tuesdays only at Agana Shopping Center.
Half a day. I'm Clint Rigel, and I'm running for senator. If you're looking for proven, effective leadership, vote for me, and let's grow Guam together. I'm Clint Rigel, and I approve this message.
Everyone has savings goals. Whatever you're saving for, Bank of Hawaii wants to help you reach your possible. That's why with our Bank Ohana 12-month CD special, you can earn 3.4% annual percentage yield with a minimum deposit of $5,000 from another bank. Requires a Bank Ohana checking account with an opening deposit of $500. So reach your savings goals with our 12-month CD special.
Anything's possible.
Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii. For terms and conditions, go to boh.com/CD special.
Knowledge is power. In just 60 seconds, the Evolt 360 provides you a unique experience and a detailed report of your body composition for you to take action to improve your health. The Evolt 360, turning information into inspiration to live a balanced lifestyle. Evolt 360 is exclusively at the Take Care Wellness Center. Go to Simply Book Me or call 671-646-6956 extension 7260 for more information and to schedule an appointment with a member of the Take Care Wellness team.
Haggadah, get ready. The all-new Cost You Less Haggadah is celebrating its grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Join us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for family fun, free giveaways, live entertainment, and incredible grand opening celebrations. Experience a fresh new way to shop with more savings, more value, and more what Guam families need every day. Don't miss the Cost You Less Haggadah grand opening weekend, August 28th through the 30th. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for details.
News, views, and everything Guam cares about. Wave 105.
Hang all the mistletoe, I'm gonna get to know you better.
For some odd reason, I feel better now, Pauly.
You got me there. I was not expecting that. I mean, I thought we were waiting till Wednesday, but
no, not at all.
It's never actually. I'm sorry, Tuesday. Tuesday is September 1st.
Well,
it's never too early, right?
It's never too early. I mean, technically,
it puts you in the mood.
Yeah,
immediately puts you in the mood.
About 121 days till Christmas. But I want to kick it off early, man.
If you're like me,
not even a day back, and I am hearing all this crap.
Yeah. Speaking of budgeting, if you want to make it just a decent Christmas, you got to start
now
preparing for Christmas, like in January. So here and there we collect some things, right, just to make it easier on Santa.
Yeah,
but definitely easier on our own budget because, again, not splurging and haven't in a long time.
I've always.
But you want to just make it decent.
I've always liked the idea when my daughter was growing up. Tell her the story about Santa and everything, and then when it came to that age where she's like, "Come on, Dad, I'm not a little girl anymore. I know there's no Santa." I kind of want to go back to the days when it was Santa.
We still pretend.
Yeah.
Even up to this day, we still put "Love Santa."
Yeah. No, it's like, hey, Dad says Merry Christmas.
Santa got all of
my
this.
wallet says Merry Christmas.
As a matter of fact, no, actually, I am surprised with whenever my kids get presents. There's plenty of times where I'm like, what did we get them?
It was like, thanks, Dad.
It's as though Santa did come to my house because I'm looking like I'm just as surprised as these guys are when they're opening up their presents.
Thanks, Dad. Hey, I knew it's what you wanted all this time, right? Yeah.
We did it, right? Right, Tosh? We went and got that. I'm so happy. You know it. I chipped in.
I was there. We went there and
in
got
spirit.
it. Yeah, we went online, both of us.
I know exactly what you got. We got to get out of here. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
Oh,
yes.
Gosh. I think I'll play another Christmas
song.
Man.
Merry Christmas. Remember, would you rather have your high school photos posted every year or your old Facebook statuses read aloud? I am going with I would rather have my high school photos posted everywhere. I do not want to see anything I posted on Facebook.
Of course
20
not.
years ago.
Yeah, no, I had like this nice Gumby hairstyle.
There you go.
Like the Bobby Brown deal when I was 15. Yeah,
my hair
I'm
was
okay
a
with
whole
that.
lot thicker 20 years ago.
I was way ahead of my time, man.
I didn't have to use so much hairspray to get it to turn over this way. All right, we'll do it all again tomorrow. Mornings with Patty, rolling with dice. It's Wednesday, so we're super stacked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Johnny, Auntie Bobby, Vet Talk is going down from 10 to 12. And then Ryan and I, for another BrightSide, we share our time in the afternoon with Senor Ron Laguatnia for Odin Fina Tomorrow, presented by the University of Guam Tomorrow Studies Program. So that's all coming up tomorrow. Join us. We'll be there. And so KGUM, FM and Dedo Guam. Everybody get home safe. Be kind to each other, especially out on those roads. Adios.
Peace.
Though you may not try.